specifically yesterday and their numbers. 23 points on the day. To give you an idea, JDG and 4 Angry Men are the only teams that actually got less points than them. Sharper and Nemesis, who didn't manage to qualify, managed to get more points than they did on the day. That is worrying.
Yeah, how much of that is down to just Twisted kind of like, you know, having to reintegrate, lose maybe a little tires from the travel. Yeah, exactly, doing a little bit of swimming. So I think they'll be okay. I mean, Twisted is generally a team that you can't keep down for long. Like, they're going to, even if they have a slow start, they're going to come in and do well.
Okay, enough of the questions. Who could, what could, all this other stuff. It is time to get into game number 1. Plane is up and in the air, and it all comes down to a very western lay on this plane path. Coming over military to start off and ending in Zarki.
Yeah, so starting on Erangel, as we have been throughout all of EWC 26, and all of our players in the plane ready to go. So just kind of going to see how this first game shakes out. The other thing I want to talk about a little bit here, Matt, is some of the teams that were down towards the bottom that just kind of barely qualified that I think are going to be dark horses for this, like AGAL, a team that we know is explosive and has that capability to pop off. I think GAM could surprise here. They've been really good. Tanvuk continues to be an absolute menace. There's Vitality, who knows? Like, there's a bunch of teams that are you're looking at this as like, oh, they didn't play well. Full sense, you're defending VGC champions. Like,
I'll be honest, whenever we look at the bottom of the leaderboard, okay, Shadow down there, there is the potential of just finding something, but it's going to be a lot harder. Other side of that, Jinji, bro. I'll be honest, I almost forgot that Jinji qualified.
they got a little lucky. The last game helped them with some of those hard circle shifts over on the military island. I mean, it still is disappointing for what this team is, who's on this team for Gen G. You would expect it to be better, and look at this. We're going down to the military island once again.
Seems familiar from yesterday.
A little
Shades of a couple of things that might play out pretty similar. We did see a much more western lay as the circles kind of popped back to back, and that was for the survival of everybody in the squads. But Team Liquid looks like they're going to just be bullying AGAL out of position a little bit more, and Gen G is going to go ahead and get themselves that car, as this is a lot on Gen G's shoulders. As a squad that I have so much hopes for. With D coming into it, I mean, you got to love the fact that American player coming in. What's going on in the squad? Let's listen in.
제가 제일 좋아하는 차량은 쿠페라고 2인용 차량인데 제가 느끼기엔 가장 빠르고 뭔가 스탑 앤 고가 되게 딜레이가 없다고 생각을 해서 쿠페를 가장 좋아하는 것 같습니다.
Not the BRDM? Speed kills, right?
I get the idea there. I like the Pony a lot for similar reasons. Pretty good car. But yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if you just want to go fast, bro.
Am I allowed to say motorcycle? I love the motorcycle.
Well, I mean, it's fun.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not technically a car. But
No.
whatever. Like, that's every single time. If I have an option, that's the vehicle I'm going to take.
Well, Kick is a believer too, apparently.
I live or die by my driving ability. Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to shoot me out. I will just mess up and jump myself.
You're the wheelman for your squad, is what you're saying.
Sometimes, but more often than not, that's like whenever we clown car in the U.S.
Oh yeah, sure, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a skill that is, you know, so often kind of neglected. That's so important in this game, is being good at driving, especially on maps like Miramar where the terrain is really rough. And Delwyn is going to get identified and tagged up just a bit by Kickstart. Now he's going to turn his attention to a tire and will pop the tire on that coupe that's out at the building across the way. Oh my God, Falcons.
I like this. Big aggression coming out early. Delwyn still continuing to be trapped. The other players for AGAL, they're in vehicles. They're on the rotate. So if this takes too long, Falcons could find themselves outnumbered. Delwyn playing it patient. Here's the footsteps. Waiting. If he can get a knock, he might be able to turn this back into a 1v1. He's played this out slow enough. Falcons playing the outside angles. You can see off in the distance, the car is coming in. Falcons now going to be playing the northern section of it. They better be careful. That car could roll right up on top of them. Kickstart's trying to get in position fast enough. They just can't seem to find the player. The solos managed to survive for long enough. This is getting dicey for the Falcons. Shots now coming out. Delwyn surviving still, does manage to get a knock onto Tank. Runs back out. He goes down, but the support is now here. Has he done the work?
Okay, let's see if they can hold the line. They didn't quite identify which building Delwyn had snuck into. They guessed a little bit incorrectly, so Destroy and Himas have shown up to the scene. And Himas lets loose with a grenade, but it bounces off the roof. Is it going to find much? Gustav finds Salalzi there off screen. So here, Falcons continuing to have some success in the early parts of the game. We saw this yesterday. Set up a trap. They were able to get some big kills, and they're getting big points.
This is just a symptom of the plane path. Everybody playing that more western position. It means that AGL had to play this. They were kind of surrounded, trapped on point. But we do know that Himas is a killer, man. Him just holding this long enough, if he can find something. But I don't know what the loot situation's like. He's got himself an Uzi. Multiple players for the Falcons now starting to come in. They know exactly where he's at. The shield not going to be enough. Kickstart's going to find him, and it's just starting to stack more and more problems for anyone's legend.
Yeah, great anticipation there that there was going to be a repeak. It was just a hold of the trigger for Kick. He was ready for it and gets the instant headshot. You know, Himas in a weird situation where he had to swap guns because he didn't have a good close-up gun, had a bolt and a micro Uzi there. So he was in a really uncomfortable position, had to put up the folding shield to try to give himself some kind of protection, and Destroy has realized that this is no longer a viable hold. Not going to be knocked on the way out, it looks like, though.
Okay, I'll just say it. Falcons, Gustav, if this is the level of shot calling you're going to go for, these early game pushes, stuff like that, try to find more points, I'm about it.
Ya, apa nih? Hei, Bang.
Off on the right foot. You want to have that strong start. You want to feel like, you know, you're accumulating those points game over game, making sure you're putting yourself in that top tier situation where you're getting 10, 11 points on average per game. And that's a really nice start for the Falcons, who will be coming in late to the circle. And I can even see Team Liquid maybe thinking about trying to mess with the Falcons a little bit here.
They're roaming over there. The circle, of course, leaning military base right now. Most of our squads already going for position. You can see Genji going for some airborne drop off into this, but this is what we had our eyes on. Team Liquid. This is another squad from the Americas that's showing a lot more initiative in the early sections, in Circle 1 specifically, and I've been loving it.
Yeah, me too. A couple teams, of course, going to be taking those emergency pickups, as you would expect with the military circle. A lot of teams are going to have to find alternate routes through. You never know when those bridges might be camped, and it's going to be Shadow just dropping in on top of the mountain. That's a nice find for them, honestly. That's a pretty good spot.
I do want to call that Falcons does have a path out down to the south. So Team Liquid is containing over into the east and to the north. But if we really do see Falcons just kind of hop in vehicles, cut south, a couple of shots now going at the Falcons, but no knocks coming out yet. It's really more just this VP as well as full sense situation that we're kind of watching.
I want to talk about what Setsuna is doing here with that very tippy-top position of that hill. He's giving himself a safe place that he can peek from. It's a really powerful position to be able to just keep track, take shots, not take much damage in response, have some safety so you don't have to prone, that kind of thing. Really nice setup there by Setsuna.
2 notes.
Woi lah. Bang.
Falcons did manage to get away from Team Liquid. They took that southern path, found it free and clear. They're good to go. Anyone's Legend, though, has a different problem as Vitality.
They're just going to keep going on. I'm really curious about what the heck Full Sense is doing.
Yeah, I mean, Primorsk, they're chilling down there. Falcon's going to be ramping it back behind them. Team Liquid going to get a little bit of airborne nature to themselves as well, seeing how they can scout. As all the squads really that we watch coming into this circle are going to be the tail end of that skirmish that was going on. Are Falcons running right down the same point that Full Sense is at?
Well, I'm kind of curious if this was like sort of a pseudo camp by Full Sense where they're trying to deny boat access from Primorsk. Maybe saw the kills in the kill feed, know where teams drop, and it is going to be a southern shifted circle still on the military island, still a lot of the base in there, still a lot of teams that had already made their move inside of this, but this seems to me like, so Full Sense, I think, was reading the kill feed, knew that Falcons were fighting AGL, knew they were dropping on the western side, and thought that maybe they can go for a little bit of a camp here. Kickstarts into their territory.
I haven't seen anybody shoot yet, so Kickstart has no idea this is going on. A couple of shots, don't manage to get the knock. No, do manage to go underneath of it, hit the toes to get the knock onto him. So Kickstart going to go down. I mean, it is right next to the res station, so do Falcons go for this? It looks like Tig's thinking about it.
That's what this is. They have Tanadol down, and they want to go for the res, and the Falcons just kind of drove into it, expecting that they could maybe come in here, get a boat for free. And in fact, they have found that this area is already occupado. So it's going to be a little bit difficult now for the Falcons, who probably want to try to get their teammates blue chip back up and running, but Vitality's driving right into this as well.
Third party could be inconvening on this one. Okay, Tig, back on the motorcycle. I think he's going to try to get out, but the timing on this is going to be terrible. It's going to be right as Vitality is on their approach. On Military Base Island itself, you can see that GAM's using the BRDM to kind of bully against the other BRDM. Tig does get spotted by Vitality. Gedrox is going to get the knock and the flush, and that was a great start for Falcons, but 2 down early is going to make it a lot more complicated and not even really resable. Remember that we still have Gustav and Shrimzy that have to cross the bridge just to get back over onto Military Base Island. I guess they could take like, I don't know. There's a couple of ways they could do this, but I think that most of the boats have been already taken.
I would suspect that there's not going to be great options for the Falcons. Maybe there's one leftover boat at the ferry pier, but I kind of doubt it. You're going to have to maybe try to cross the bridge otherwise. So, you know, Tig's just trying to drive away and not really ready for the fact that Vitality was already going to be in the vicinity. Wasn't trying to drive around that hill or anything, so he kind of figured it out too little too late. Going to gas up the BRDM there. Keep it fully fueled up for GAM. Now Vitality as well has kind of question marks about how they're going to get into this next circle. Full Sense got back in their boat and they're on their way over.
Destroy also roaming back behind all of this. 17 did pull an emergency pickup, opted to go away from it instead. Hopped back in their vehicles. They're going to the eastern bridge, I assume because they wanted to hold onto their vehicles for longer, given the way that this circle's got a lot of open area. We are very southern leaned on our Military Base Island. That's going to be the more open sections, including, of course, like the airport itself. That's going to be very wide out, except for the damaged vehicles and planes that are around it. But then to the south of it, it's the much more open section that we can see that T1's got a 2-2 split pretty much entirely across the fields down to the south.
That's a huge split for T1. I'm very curious what, what they're going to be able to do with that. Yeah, Shrimzy has been not super quiet about what he's been doing, so Vitality gonna have to clear some of this territory. They suspect he's in the vicinity. Does have that level 3 gear, but that first spray really awkward. Gets the headshot though in the end. Looking for the double down, and he's got it.
Just popping heads right now, putting in the work. Take down Tiggleton. We'll all get 2 of you as vengeance. Gustav still on the other side of this. Nades raining down on him. But Gustav could go for a great flank position, make sure to really cut this off. Shrimzy wants to make sure that he secures out the kills, gets those points, now sitting at 5. Even if we do see Shrimzy and Gustav go down, that's a decent start on the day, even if they do go down early.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 5 points here is pretty okay for the Falcons, and any more that you get out of this game is going to be very, very nice, considering you've been having to fight sometimes at your own decision-making, other times at other teams. Shrimzy was a really nice little move there to dodge some of those frag grenades that he knew were going to be coming his way, to get those first aids in and to get ready for the follow-up fight. Gedrox looking for him.
2 follow-up fights that are going on. Full Sense is going to get eliminated by Team Liquid, who's crossed over the bridge, bumped into them. Big firefight to remove them from position. So Team Liquid also finding a lot of points as America trying to frag out early in a very desperate circle. Is in a weird turn of fate, Destroy is now back over next to the Falcons. It's just taken them so long to get away. Destroy, who's just trying to solo survive out in all of this, has realized maybe I could get some shots into it. And yeah, Destroy gets the knock on to Hello My Bad, and inadvertently, anyone's legend is going to come up and rescue Falcons.
Key point here, AGAL did get their revives as well. I can see their players on the
Banyak
very
yang ikut
southern coast
campur
of the
aja.
military base. So Destroy able to do a lot of big
Lah.
things for AGAL and keep them alive in this. There goes Gedrox, and
Vitality
Vitality is
percent.
down. Great work here from Shrimzy. 4 kills in this game, 3 on the Vitality.
Let's see why there's a little bit of a conversation from the other players about might be the GOAT. He took a bad situation, turned it into a great situation. Navi still dealing with GAM, and the BRDM battle, where they're just kind of bouncing off of each other, is going to continue as this is the center of the circle of the south, and this is going to be VP. Quick update on all the other positionings. T1's managed to regroup over into the east of this. GK is going to be to the west of it. Gen G much further over to the north, but Myth is trying to hold out VC as Vicious is kind of roaming around every single angle around Myth right now.
Yeah, Vicious is just trying to find something kind of safe-ish in this circle, and it's, as you mentioned earlier, Matt, it's difficult in this part of the map, and they're already losing players. Simon T's gone.
Set
I mean, I
kemana
have
tuh?
no idea. Into Narnia.
Oh, there's AGAL swimming out there. That's real.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
they're trying to hit the players in the water. No, no, no. Oh, a good one, though.
Ooh.
That one finds
Nice
the mark
banget
right
ini.
on top of Navi. Is going to claim
Penny.
Boostik's life, trying to get that BRDM to a bit of a safer spot, but Navi, I was going to mention how nice it is to have a BRDM in a circle like this, but mortars are a decent little counter.
I mean, you just got to be digging in this circle. It is just bad. I mean, full rock and stone moment's going to have to stack up. Team Liquid's going to be wrapping on a Gen G on the other side of what's going to be going on with this. VC still roaming out in the fields, not feeling too good. Myth taking the shots at him, but that's allowed GAM more maneuverability in this point where they could be a bit more pressured. Circle continues to go down to the south, and Twisted Mind's going to be feeling really good about that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's Twisted now. It's just an important job of keeping that eastern edge of the mini pier clear. Spyro will be taken down by a grenade from Corexi, so Navi continues to get picked apart piece by piece. I think they're just going to have to rely on the safety of that BRDM. It was good grenades from Clories, and then the follow-up from Virtus Pro to put them in a really awful position where they've only got 2 alive. But yes, they still have that BRDM.
17. They're just going to try to make a send into the circle. They've got cars. They're going to roll right by Twisted at T1. Looks like they're going to be sending it into the BRDM duel. Pretty close to where Navi's at. I think that they've got a hillside that they're going to try to control. And VC going to go for a couple of shots. And
Tuh ya main ginian. Alah. Jangan. Woi ya.
Anything out of it.
Where do you even go? If you go past this Navi point, it's just going to get worse. So instead, you just jump out right into the face of Navi. There's not too much else to be had over here, but a big crossfire. Navi is going to get taken down. Vicious lives up to their names and gets them, but that just puts you into the GAM crossfire.
Yeah, there was T1 getting involved here as well, doing some damage into this. So gonna have to throw down a lot of util to try to stabilize, and GAM loves this setup. They are so good about kind of hunkering down and finding their moments to put some pressure onto you.
Weird update, as I think that we have the Destroy Shrimsy duel still going off onto the north. Himas, the other side of what's going on with Anyone's Legend, has managed to touch the ground. He's down below Shadow, and Handsy in the position that he's going to be playing. Mortars galore going to be the name of the game. When it's this open and in the fields, they're just ridiculously strong.
Absolutely. I think AGAL players are just going to try to swim and survive as long as they can. They're very fanned out, and that's part of the game now, as you are going to have that option, you know, with being recalled in. You probably don't have a lot of loot, if any. Nope, there's nobody on that beach.
Maybe again, just for a point to play from. I figured that might be what's being seen. Team Liquid,
That's true.
In a little bit of trouble over here as they're playing the edge of the circle. It's Gen G one side. GAM also now going to be playing more into the north, trying to get into pretty much that Gen G mid positioning. GK is still holding down the res beacon, making sure that nobody can go after it, as Gen G is just in so much trouble over here, man. They don't have anywhere they can go.
No, this is very tricky. I mean, Bean's already knocked in the circle. Soul's still going to be able to find a knock.
Hello.
Blue, but we're into phase 4 blue, so it's going to tick down very, very quickly. 3 damage per second. Soul is going to be able to confirm that point at the very least. So making something out of nothing there is Soul, but it feels like Gen G is probably not long for this lobby. Oh, he gets another one.
I mean, if they get enough knocks, it's starting to stack up. The circle has left this position, so Gen G just on the hunt for whatever.
Agak itu.
Team Liquid trying to survive. Myth now taking shots
Dapat
on
poin
Team
nggak sih
Liquid in
harusnya?
a weakened position as GAM still just roaming around in the face, gatekeeping out everybody as Gen G does finally get eliminated. It's going to be the blue zone that finishes it out.
Yeah, Falcons as well went down off screen. 6 points though, not bad at all for Falcons. You'll take that, considering how weird that game went to begin and how awful the starting circle is given your drop spot. So no big deal there for them. Cowboy trying to punish Myth, has Baron out in the open, but Jacob responds instantly.
Myth stacking kills. We saw Falcons trying to find something. They've gone out. Team Liquid in that troubled position we saw a second ago, but Myth just using their firing lines, finding more and more. But as the circle continues to go coastline, VP is getting a lot of control over the circle on one side of it, and then you have 17 now starting to deal with T1. And 17's position's just not that good. T1's just going to drop a couple of nades right into the thick of all of them. No sort of the rat. And T1 is just, it's brutal efficiency, man. They just look so clean, and it's so easy for them to just stack kill upon kill.
I mean, Heather's been incredible. That's a great response, though. Almost gets the knock onto Ian. The follow-up trying to anticipate where he was going to run to doesn't land, but here come the mortars. It hits Tiantian. Lil Ghost stuck behind the Dorito when he's, it just came up short. Heather had a good opportunity, and now it's going to be Lil Ghost responding. Cannot find the knock. Good prone there from Heather.
How does Heather just know how to, every single time, get into position, stay alive, and get these kills? It is just ridiculous to watch T1 play these types of positions. So Myth now in second place, T1 in third place, but with Falcons being out, usurped quite quickly. America's already out entirely off of that good start. Myth in trouble, though. GAM is going to be the target on one side of it. Myth just rolls right into their face. Warrior's got to be careful. couple of third parties could get involved, most notably Vicious and GK. GK's hopped in vehicles and they're wrapping this direction, and that could be a problem for Myth.
I think BC might come here too. There's a good Panzer from Baron. He gets a headshot as well at range with the M4, but GK has found their mark. They have found some targets, and they are picking apart the teams underneath them down the hill.
There's enough of a hillside that they don't have to deal with anybody else except for really VP, who's holding the top of the hill. So, taking down Myth, getting a lot of damage onto him, and at least stalling them out is giving GK a lot more maneuverability positions, but VP has so much control over the circle, everybody's just having to cluster down different points. AGAL, I think, has now also been spotted by Shadow, who's just been kind of hiding in the shadow of the cliff facings down to the south. And let's not forget Twisted down there into the southeast, just waiting for everything to go, but they're taking eyes and looking into T1's position, making this a little bit more dubious.
Yeah, Heather tried to spread out a little bit over to the west and got immediately thwarted by the sightlines of Twisted from that mini pier position. So that has sent T1 a little bit further north. Don't want to try to maintain that hold.
Nice.
Ground. Hansi is going to claim some players from AGAL. I mean, you got a placement point out of it for AGAL with the destroy, ability to survive, get a kill, call in the recall, get your players out in the water, at least found something.
Finding more successes than the squads that were trying to use this coastline to get those couple of points to qualify and knock Shadow out. So Shadow learning the lesson of what was going on yesterday.
Lawan PP lagi.
Coming up big for them. But GK and Myth now need to get in the circle. Twisted down to the southeast also needs to do the same thing. VP is also starting to lose a lot of their, I guess, high ground control position that they've been playing. And Shadow doesn't have any options except really to force their way right into VP's positioning. That's going to open up some more maneuverability for the rest of the lobby right now. It's just pretty much this high ground that we can see coming up in the coastline leading into the cliff. And everybody's about, what, 20 meters? Maybe 10?
Lah, mana tuh?
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice vision point to try to find how you want to make your entry into this, because you're going to have to probably crash somebody or try to create some space in the middle by setting up the vehicle for it, immediately get the pickaxes out, start digging in to see if you can find some space. But you're going to be under the sightlines of a lot of teams. If you have a foot, Lucarux tapping away with the M4.
Nice, down satu.
Find one knock, but Hansi found a big one onto B.
Aduh, Jack. No.
With the SLR. This is
Ya elah.
Shadow.
Other side of it's going to be Twisted Minds.
Yeah.
Vision, crossfire galore on the Shadow, and they go down. Means that Beamy's probably going to be resable. Looks like Twisted doesn't have an angle onto his position. Nixie still has to keep an eye on GK, but GK is very focused on what's going on with Myth to the north of them. Myth just can't find a path into the circle, and I don't blame him. I mean, there's a little bit of a ridge line up on top of this as VP is just punishing GK on every single peak, and until Myth goes down, GK doesn't have a path into the circle.
This is still a very nice game for Myth, no matter how this shakes out. They've already got 10 points in this, so they're just kind of keeping on, doing what they do best, finding kills, fighting out on the edges, taking great team fights, capitalizing on their moments, getting the points where they can, making sure that they confirm every knock that they get. It seems like they're so aggressive with those vehicles now. They're trying to hop from triangle to triangle. Sungjong watching with the Dragunov to try to catch them in transition. That's not bad, and that's a good follow-up from Akan.
Myth is just trying to creep their way in, so they still need to get right up next to the road or at least cross it, and you can see that that's going to be nigh insurmountable. Nade, depending on the bounce, gonna go to that side of the Dorito, but it was already red. Scappy's gone ahead and pulled Baron into a new spot. I think that they're right on the edge, so as long as he gets this res up, it'll buy him at least this circle, but good luck after that.
Heather just domed
He
just absolutely wrecked him out there.
Berdua
so that's given Myth the opportunity
mulu
to
dah.
really make sure that they can get this res to go. In fact, Scappy's going to take the point.
Okay, so look at the lay of the land of the circle. T1's got control over the east. VP is trying to hold on to their high ground for as much as they can, but Twisted's trying to sneak in right underneath of them. GK right on the edge of the zone, not too much further they can go. VC is playing a little bit of a hill right on the other side of where Myth is trying to cross, and they haven't managed to get too involved as Myth is going to finally get eliminated. GK, where do you go? You're going to have to deal with VP close range, or you just run down into VC, but neither one of those fights feels good, and it feels like VP is just taking more territory control and making this brutal by the second.
Yeah, GK's in a very awkward position. It should be mentioned today that GK
makanan tuh isa dong.
Made a power move when it came to the drop spots today. They were threatening to challenge AGAL all across the maps, and that might have been part of the reason that AGAL was in a weird position early where they started to get picked apart. And also you notice that GK's loot is very sparse compared to what they would like. You see some MP5s in there, you see an SKS in there, maybe not exactly the guns that they would normally want to be bringing to these fights. I saw, an M16 Granted, they're a team that can thrive with weaker weapons, so to speak, but they're kind of trying to find a way around VC.
This is great from Twisted Minds. They're playing the coastline, moving in. You can see that they're just trying to corral VP further up the hillside, so that way they have a little bit more maneuverability over here because it's pretty hazardous. VP is trying to deny it on that side, though. They're trying to get into a point where they can keep an eye on the coastline approach. Twisted going to see if they can be enough to kind of bully their way in, but they are getting some assistance, Twisted is, by T1 on the other side of this. T1's realized that GK is right on top of VC, so their focus is turning a bit more down into VP's positioning, and they don't like how that strong position that VP's playing is kind of giving them as much control as they've got. So it looks like EN might be moving their way down as BB does spot out Lou. I don't know, Twisted. Now you've got a pinch on both sides, and there is nowhere to go. Open field in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, with Virtus Pro already pretty well dug in here, you're going to have to land some really nice grenades. They try to flank Lou out to find a bit of a freebie pick, but it was well read by Virtus Pro. Now T1 swung down to the backside of this. They want to make sure that Twisted is dealt with. They'll leave Heather up on his own to corral GK, who they know are pinned on that hillside up on the northern edge. They can't really peek out too efficiently. EN thinking about the frag. Did that grenade just bounce off of Example's head?
T1's never found a fight that they don't want to be a part of. Perfectic's going to go down. Type's going to go ahead and find Example. So that's going to be Twisted Minds down out in that position. So 5th place. We've got our top 4 now. T1's going to go ahead and regroup. Heather made a contain play, holding back GK as well as Vicious. So VP still holding their point. So it's a 2-2 split at this stage as the circle pops, and really VC the only one in it.
Yeah, seeing a little bit of frustration there from Batu. You know, again, this team will bounce back. I think a 7-point game, not definitely how you wanted it to roll, but with Twisted, they're always want to just keep popping off eventually.
Twisted is so smart, and they're trying to do like these damage control maneuvers on these really brutal shifted circles that we're seeing. You know, whenever you're smart and you've got the gameplay coming in, you're trying to figure out a strategy to deal with coastline military base to the south on Circle 4. It's so hard, and but that's what you get at this stage, man.
7's good, yeah, exactly, man. This is not an easy circle to be in. Park Pro gonna be watching the back tree there of a couple players of T1. Can't get that 3x spray to really connect initially. Able to follow up with some damage, but takes about an equal amount. That's gonna open the door here for Heather to go for the grenade. Is it gonna connect on a Park Pro? No, it bounces a little too far.
I mean, Vicious has just been chilling here for so long, not really involved in too many of the firefights. I have no idea what's going on with the squad, what really their economy looks like, how much ammo, meds that they're sitting on, as GK is just right on the other side of the hill from them, and it's just defended. You can see that it's going to be nowhere else for GK to go. They've got to push the side of it, and Vicious is just doing a good job on holding it and not allowing GK to go anywhere. GK is going to be so pissed at these guys because they've been right on top of each other for so long. Finally, Tycon takes some damage, but I mean, where does EJ go? He's just trapped here. He's going to go down the blue zone. Park Pro now the only one up. T1 focused in on him.
He's done. They're just going to succumb to the blue. Don't want to give any extra points over if they can help it. I think that's a fine play from GK. And again, a tough situation that they found themselves in. Not easy to be on the outside looking in of this current circle. T1 continues to swing around the side. Raining found a big knock onto Virtus Pro, and they're looking to try to capitalize. Smokes are down. They're going to keep moving forward.
Can they get there fast enough? Jumping in the vehicles. They want to get into a great position. Great shots are already finding. Tycon's going to go and get the knock on to Nixie, but everybody's getting a piece of what's going on with VP right now. EN down for T1, but they continue the push around on this angle. VP doing a great job on defense, but it's going to be Lucarux right in the face of VC, and this is exactly what T1 wanted. They wanted these two squads on top of each other so they could dismantle them at their leisure.
And to make everything worse, Lucarux just going to try to run him over. He's out of the car, trying to do some damage. Hops into the smoke, is barely alive. Trying to go for that first aid, has a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Type is on the hunt, and he has taken down Virtus Pro members. They only have one standing, and that's Lucarux.
Enak dong, T1. T1-nya enak.
Now at the top of the leaderboard, but Lucarux surviving in a desperate situation, finds more, picks it up in the end. It is going to be T1 feasting on it all.
Well, this is exactly what we were looking for from T1. They've been second so many times, and they come out with a big statement chicken dinner to kick off the finals of EWC 26.
That's a scary situation to be looking at. 11-kill victory coming up from T1 is going to put them in a great position on the leaderboard to start off everything and really unlock that aggression that T1 loves to bring in the earlier stages. Flip side of that, though, VP played that circle so well. This is a squad that we have such high hopes for. They managed to make it later stages. Lucarux with hero play, surviving, jumping in the car, running right into VC's face, gets a knock off of it, and just jumps out and starts massacring.
It's one of those funny moments where you can kind of use your opponent's smokes and vision denial against them a bit. And there were a bunch of stuns that were landing in there. I mean, absolute chaos, but he has that AK for this close range fight, which is just a beautiful gun to have in that situation, as T1's just trying to claim as many points in the end as they can.
I mean, Lucarux, great play, not denying it, but the puppet strings were coming from T1.
Nice
The way
hug.
that they played that circle, they forced that position, they forced him to send into that angle and really deny it out. VC survived for so long off of good positioning and good defense, and kind of screwed over several teams, just not allowing anybody in the north to come into the circle.
Exactly. I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to some of those teams that were caught up in that northern fight, like EK, like VC, even GAM a little bit earlier on, I thought played it pretty decently. So, you know, even though they don't get a lot of points out of it, GAM, they were causing a lot of havoc up there, giving themselves some opportunities for points. They just couldn't capitalize.
I mean, we had action off the get-go. Plane path was crazy, leading us all the way down to Millie. Let's go ahead and get everything set for game number 2.
A lot of people are haunted by their past. I'm inspired by it.
They're not just playing for themselves, they're really playing for their entire family.
They have defeated their demons! They have crushed the curse!
Hey, it's Kalaris here as well. I've got Tab with me from Twisted Minds. So Tab, my first question is, how does it feel being the best player on the team?
Like, not best, but yeah, it was kind of stable. So yeah, nice, feeling nice because I wasn't like a problem for the team. So yeah, I'm proud by myself.
Absolutely. It was awesome to watch you play things out. So overall, obviously, you know, as day 2, a little harder actually for Twisted Minds as a whole. What do you guys think about that? What do you think was the reason for it being a bit harder day 2?
It wasn't like harder in case of like the team, but most of the most situations what we met, it was always about the comms, you know, like how to play together and have the same temp for each player. Like we have to make any decision together. So that was a problem, I think.
That's an amazing answer. Thank you very much for that. So final question then. Your thoughts? Is Twisted Minds going to be the back-to-back?
Yes, I swear. I'll say yeah, I swear. We will do it and we will do our best.
Thank you very much, Tab, for joining me here. Good luck in the next couple of days. And that is us here, done and done.
Hey everybody, it is Matcham here. I got myself Team Liquid's Cowboy, the new face on the roster, and welcome to EWC. This is your first time here, right?
Yep, my first time at EWC.
So you enjoying it so far?
Yeah, it's been a blast. Really cool event.
So looking on to the future, you guys now qualified for the grand finals. You guys were, I guess, spicy on the last day, doing some hunting down, trying to cut out some people, make sure you get into a better position. Anything that you got planned for today that you can reveal? Anything else fun coming down the pipeline?
Right now, no. I think we're just gonna play our game, but we're always down for some fun.
Lain gelap gening lain. Udah ganti
last
sekarang
question
mah.
I gotta know.
Orang nggak semangat, Cok. Ya lagi ini, coy.
I don't know. Maybe one day. I have one at
Lagi
home.
pada
I was gonna say, do you need me to bring you one from
nonton.
Texas? You got
Coba
one?
nonton lagi pada ini
All right,
anjir.
cool, man. Thanks so much. You have a great day.
Bang Bucin, Bang Bucin.
Thank you, man. By the way, like the shirt as well as T1 came out hot. We had this team on Sony's story of the day, and there was no surprise, Toffee, that they were able to perform like this, especially with that 2-2 split at the end, too.
I mean, they look good. It's not a surprise. We talked about the start of the day. Everybody was like, Heather this, Heather that. It's raining points, and so it doth again begin in such a way. You know, I'm not shocked. I guess I'm sad for everybody else in the lobby because you're playing that chess game now, boys.
I mean, they might have heard me because I was like, oh, you know, they get the kills and the eliminations, but their ability to sort of change that into a win is not existent until now. So reverse caster curse, I believe, for T1, but I mean, yeah, they played that exceptionally from start to finish, and to see them be able to get to that point as a full squad was exceptional.
Yeah, what actually impressed me the most about that as well is the play they had, right? They sent 2 down to the south to kind of watch VP, make sure that they couldn't encroach on their position. Then they sent the other 2 towards the north to watch what was kind of going on between Vicious and I believe it was Geekay. But man, I have to say, for me, Lucarux, that was one of the sickest clutch plays to get Vicious out of there and secure second place. That was so sick.
Super true, because that's the hard part, Laces. Do you just go for that easy 1 flush, or do you try to take that 1v1 that will ultimately amount to 2 points? That's a tough decision.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, it was something that it looks like they pre-planned it. I mean, their ability to adapt is exceptional, but I feel like this is something that they might have calculated from the group stages, because we did not see this sort of like play style in group stages. So they took something to the drawing board, and they are absolutely smashing it.
The willingness to risk the 1 in the hand for the 2. You know what I'm saying? Like as it was, he had an easy flush right there in front of him and said, we got to go for those bigger points to chase teams like T1, who started incredibly strong. Vicious coming out in 4th place. We talked a little bit about them and how they kind of surprised us on their second day of play, making a lot of point runs. These are the teams, in fact, if you even go back a few more ticks, you got your Falcons that were knocked out, a couple other top contenders. The people who got to the top 7 are exactly who we expected to be there in game 1.
That's right. I mean, Myth as well, even though they didn't end up being on that final, they were still able to collect 9 kill points. Impressive play out of that squad, considering they really didn't have Godspeed. With Mid towards the north, they didn't really have anything to work with, and they were able to make something out of that.
But that's the thing, that roster, no matter what, any good roster in PUBG, Steve knows this, any good roster is going to find a way to get as many points as possible, regardless of what situation they're in. That's what makes Myth so dangerous. That's what made Twisted so strong. That's what made Falcon so strong.
Yeah, I mean, we saw them on the north side there being able to clear out Team Liquid on the northwest, which, you know, I thought they were going to more push into Gam, who was holding them out in zone. But no, they cleared their backs, and then they were able to decimate Gam going into the zone, which was awesome for them collecting that. Obviously, you know, they're only down to the 2, but I feel like no matter kind of what dynamic duo is happening, you know, whether it's, you know, Kiss and Jacob and Baron swapping around, the way that they can just have that cohesion as a team, no matter who is still standing, is insane. Like, I am so impressed by this squad.
I'm impressed by that squad. I'm impressed by a lot of the squads and how they're going to approach this. And I think one thing to keep in mind is the first couple games here are a chess match for these teams, right? Yeah, especially that circle goes far south, makes it tough for some of these teams on rotation. So what you're going to look for is the salvage teams. AGAL with some swimmers out there hoping to pick up a couple of extra points. Falcons realizing that they
6 points.
Yeah, and they reason Falcons going, we lost some resources. Let's crash Vitality, take that extra risk, and hopefully pick up a few more. And that's what you need to do, especially with this new Smash roll on day 3. You need to go in ahead, or at the very least, you can't go in behind. If you look at T1 right now, they get the 10 for winning, they get 11 for kills. That is a huge jump. If they are 21 ahead when we go into the 3rd day, it may be uncatchable outside of the 6.
Yeah, in Smash, you absolutely want to set the pace. You want to be in first, because ultimately you're basically setting yourself up to win the tournament, rather than having someone come from behind and then, you know, kind of steal it.
That's right. I mean, with this squads too, you just need to make sure the gap is not too insane going into the final game, because then from whoever's in first place, depending on how many points they have, you will end up adding 10. And if it's too far away, it's just going to come down to that squad that is in first place to just do enough to get those 10 points and then just play for that win.
Well, it even goes farther, because if a team is far enough ahead, right, you don't get to play your normal game. The entire lobby now has the onus of being in charge of stopping them from winning. So that means, like, I might be executing the perfect strategy, but oh my goodness, I see the kill feed, and the team that could very much win with a chicken dinner here gets a knock. I have to send them. I can't let them maybe get that win, because I need to make sure I'm in first. The club points are on the line, the $2 million, like, this is not something you can take light risks on.
Do you think T1 can, you know, get sabotaged? Because what we witnessed is they were always being the saboteur. So I don't know if this is something that, you know, is going to be a little bit difficult for the teams, but from watching the group stages, all I saw was T1 taking down all those teams in their path, and yeah, it might not be the reverse.
I'm hoping it ends up happening. I'm pretty sure at some point we might end up seeing a bit of a sabotage too, depending on what happens here, if teams do have to chase. But this is just game 1. Get a bit to relax here, unless it happens in game 2 and game 3 and so on. But I'm hearing that we got something going on with Kalaris on the stage.
there's always something going on with me. There's a lot in my head. There's a lot going on here at the Esports World Cup. But of course, we had some great players in that first game with everyone trying to deal with military, as always here on Erangel. But there's been plenty of great plays throughout the tournament already so far. What have been some of your best?
Oh man, I think the first thing that comes to mind has got to be that example drop shot when he was. Look, I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it was done on purpose, but man, it looked cool. It really did. You see the cinematics. UAS going over the top of his head. It was insane. And then don't follow that up, the Tiggleton double mortar. Yeah. The back-to-back mortar, and then them going off and then just farming the rest of the northern side of the lobby. Those are the two that first stick out to my mind. What about you?
Yeah, definitely very impressive stuff. I must say, when it comes to that example, and that was sick, and the mortars were fantastic as well. For me, it's a very simple one. I kind of liked the Panzer underneath the BRDM from Tanvu, because it's very rare you see that angle being exploited. So for Tanvu to be able to make something like that happen was pretty damn awesome, right?
I mean, again, you could also put that into the list of, was it intentional or was it something that just kind of happened magically? But either way, it was so fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot, of course, and there's going to be more on the way as well. The thing is that you've got some amazing situations happening too. I think Himas being able to get as many kills as he did for AGAL, it really kind of righted the ship a little bit, I think, for them. What do you think?
No, absolutely. AGAL definitely needed somebody to step up, and this is the time when your superstars have to start shining their brightest.
Nobar guys.
Oh, it's time for the game, Oro. All right, let's head on over to the commentator team for the next game here for the finals.
Oh, it's a tale of two different mindsets as they're all technical with like shooting like Panzerfaust underneath the vehicles and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, I'm just like, Heather ran over everybody on Falcons and just like blew that whole thing up. That was
raining. It was raining.
Was it raining?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But that being said, Heather has been incredible. I mean, just what an unbelievably talented player. By far the top fragger during the group stage. But Raining has, he has his moments too. He is no slouch. That's the scary thing about this T1 team is Heather, Raining, Type are all incredible fraggers. And EN, now that he's the IGL, is kind of sometimes slowed down in that, but he still can absolutely pop off himself. I mean, he's been one of the best in Korea for a very long time. So that T1 team, top to bottom, if they can continue to play as well as they are, as cohesive as they are definitely going to be a threat. It feels like for sure. My eyes, though, going to be drifting over towards AGAL, who has to make some weird decisions because of Geekade. Be way out in the south, though.
I just had to go back and double check. No, see, it was Heather.
Was it really Heather?
Yeah, it was Heather.
Oh, you're right. Oh, okay. I thought it was Raining. My brain got frazzled.
I am now the Korea expert.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, plane path over into the east, as you're kind of alluding to. AGAL is going to have to do a longer drop to try to get away from a full sense. No shenanigans off the start on this one. Now, there is a takeaway that I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, Falcons taking that fight early is just, they went out, blah, blah, blah. No, look, when in game one, trying to set up peace and taking control over an area and saying, like, don't mess with us, this is ours, that has ramifications that sacrificing a game one start and still walking away with the high amount of kills is not a loss. That is a big victory.
Absolutely. I mean, this is perfectly fine for the Falcons. I mean, if you're concerned about what they did in that first game, I'd have concerns about you, because that was a reasonable play, particularly given the circle, given the situation they were in. It was a hard shifted circle, so a lot of those teams that are dropping on those very northern spots, like South George, up in that kind of vicinity of the Mac, Gatka, that kind of stuff. Look, it's going to be hard to get into that circle, no matter what you do. Even if you emergency pick up, if you drive, bridges are going to be camped. There's going to be people who may already be in the compounds you're kind of eyeing from those emergency pickups. Just take the points where you can.
Yeah, okay, circle pop. Down to the south, Gam going to be in a great position. Na'Vi, Myth as well. Vitality playing around Ohyang. They're going to be feeling pretty good. Jin G is going to be inside the circle, and just to the east of them is going to be Geekade. But we're going to have longer wraps coming in from the guys that went to the island up to the north. That's going to be a VP, Shadow, AGAL, Full Sense, Team Liquid, kind of. I think that they left ALO kind of very close to the edge of the circle, so they should be fine. 17 and Twisted going to be right next to each other on the edge of the zone. But T1 and Myth do drop pretty close to each other, and that could be a recipe for something fun to brew.
That would be nice. Getting to see those two teams take a fight. I mean, the rest of the lobby would love that in particular, given how well they've been playing lately.
I mean, when we're talking about, like, what's going on and how we have expectations coming into this, yes, T1, Myth, but whenever my eyes go European right now, for me it's VP. VP off of the performance on day 2, just overall great. The way that this squad can really just kind of find ways to make terrible circles work for them is incredible. You can see a lot of squads, like Batulans was getting annoyed at that last game just due to how the circles kind of fall together. VP has this system that seems to work where they can take a mess and just turn everything advantageous to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think back to some of the games last year that they won in really bizarre situations where there's just like flat fields. Like I can remember one here on Tego where it came down to like a 1v1 and they're able to clutch it out because of some really good smoke play and the way they're able to position themselves. I can't remember, it was a tie team. I can't remember which one they were going against, but anyway, they are really sturdy in those moments. The thing that hurt VP during the group stage was they had kind of a run there on the first day where they just couldn't get into those late game situations like they normally are really pretty adept at doing. So as long as they can do that, you're feeling pretty good. You may get your wish here a bit. No, no damage done.
T1 getting shot at and not stopping to fight? Not my T1.
Well, they probably know who it is, and they're probably like, okay, of any team in the lobby to try to fight early, maybe this one's not the one we want to try to contest.
Especially when they've got a compound and all that other fun stuff. Another European squad, Na'Vi. Great position. Center of the circle. They're trying to push back against 17, trying to get a bit closer to them, but I do like the fact that we get to see T1 in this rotating where they opt into stopping because there's really nobody playing to the west. The way that this has kind of all come down, Hosan's going to be kind of the northwest-ish. It's kind of central. It's in that like odd spot kind of in between both. Team Liquid's going to wrap over there, but that's the only squad really in the west.
Yeah, and I think this is a really good thing to talk about. You know, that you're really highlighting well, Matt, that they went all the way across the circle to get here, right? So they're trying to play a bit more edge. They're trying to not just take that early position. Kamal's will take Panadol down early again, so full sense. Having struggles in the early game, but let's pencil that in for later. I think T1 wants to play a little bit more edge. They want to take those fights, and they're happy to not just claim a central compound. You know, they were pretty close to the center of the circle compared to a lot of teams, and they opted to go far west. That's really interesting. That really says a lot about their current mindset for this tournament.
Well, a lot of times when we've talked about T1, right, they had a different coach at the time.
Yep.
You were talking yesterday a little bit about that, and kind of, do you think that this is more of a distinct playstyle difference now coming out from T1 due to that?
100%. 100%. It's a Lash K, the difference between him and Sonic. Like, Sonic is a much more like central heavy. Like, you think back to those old Donawan teams when they won PGC, like they're going to look for those center circle dives around 3 and 4, whereas here you're going to play a little bit more spread, but you're going to look for those edge fights. That's very much that old Element Mystic kind of idea with a little bit more aggression baked in compared to what we saw when Lash K used to be a pro. So it's a lot of that kind of thing that T1 is so good at, on top of having just incredible players. I mean, they're so good.
Yeah. Top of the world right now is going to be Na'Vi in a great position. Everybody else still just trying to rotate in. Falcon's going to finally leave the airport. We have VC that look like they might be waiting for them, though. This is no rush to get in the circle. They have an easy way to get there, and they are keeping their heads on a swivel. It feels like this is just going to be patient waiting for, and Kurt actually finds E-End. Maybe T1 trying to bite off a little bit too much, as this is a great move coming out from Team Liquid. They were the last ones to actually get into this area, and how is it that there's nobody in the west, but somehow these two squads are the only ones fighting?
Well, I think T1 might have like gotten baited a little bit here by Team Liquid. I mean, if Kirk can get out of this is going to be a great freebie point. Now, you could recover the chip. It looks like Heather just did that. There are some revive stations that you could go to. Hosan is the one that my eyes immediately go to as being open. I mean, Team Liquid is hunting, man. I love this. We've talked about it a lot this tournament.
I mean, worked for them yesterday. They managed to inflict damage, find great ways to really take control over circles, ruin, I guess, several teams today if you really look at it. T1 wants no piece of that right now because they know that Team Liquid is just coming in hot and heavy, and they do not care. Anyone's Legend actually making that long wrap finally is going to get into the circle just to the west of what we were just watching. VC did not end up staying long enough to wait and catch Falcons, so they're going to go ahead and go for the circle while Falcons has an easier path. And we still have Shadow and Full Sense fighting up in the army base.
Yeah, that's kind of turned into a bit of a standoff up there at the very northern edge of the map. Maybe sort of a fight for territory.
I don't know if this feels good. You've now put yourself in between Team Liquid as well as T1. Team Liquid's realized, whoa, there's way too many cars over here. Let's not defend this angle anymore. Let's go ahead and try to regroup.
And I think T1's just maybe looking for a revive station is like kind of the weirdness of this whole situation. Having a couple porters, not the best cars to have in this spot as T1. I think they're a little bit lucky that everybody else was also in cars in those moments, or otherwise they might have lost another player or two.
I mean, they can run down to Songam, but I guess that you don't want to make the commitment into that stage yet. Maybe they were thinking school because that's easier to get out of.
Yep.
but this is taking so long for them to find anything.
They got to go way west.
Everybody else is starting to make an approach in these late wraps. Finally, we do have also Shadow has left full sense to their own devices up there as we're about to get circle number 2.
Look at this. They might kind of run into a timing here between AGAL, but we'll see. It depends on where AGAL wants to make their turn. If they were thinking about contesting this, and Delwyn might have got an idea that T1 was going in that direction. Exactly what I'm looking at, Matt. It just depends.
I mean, yeah, but we did see that AGL went for a very coastal wrap on this one. So T1, in their adventure to try to get their teammate back, just keeps bumping into everybody in the world. Most of the squads that were playing center don't have to move too much more. And I mean, for T1, this is really throwing off your timings on the circle.
I think they're going to get in here with just enough time, and I don't think AGAL is going to be able to punish this initially. Now, this will give AGAL a very good idea that there is a team on their backside, so they can try to set up a bit of a gatekeep onto T1 potentially, but this is going to be a tough revive to get to go for T1 in the long run. Just have to wait and see how they make it go. Gen G close to Team Liquid, who has split up into a 2-2 split, but
it feels like everybody is next to Team Liquid right now as they kind of threw themselves into the thick of it all. But yeah, Gamma spotted out VC. VC, remember, they were kind of a little bit slower on their rotate into all of this, so Duckmy at least going to find Duck Juice in return. Team Liquid, you can see, while they do have that hillside on the west in control, it's going to start being more contested as AGL is going to try to find angle. Gam's Tanvu does have vision up on Duckmy and is trying to dare him to go for the res, but just doesn't get the angle that he wants.
Yeah, it was Duck season up here. Oh, look at that. Levante comes up and over the hill. That's Vitality striking, and Gam continuing to have problems.
The timing on that, the Porter was rolling away. If he held the angle for a little bit longer, he could have found it, but Levante just coming in, ruining opportunities. See if Gam, what they want to do now, they have to retreat more down to the south. There's just not much else of an option.
Yeah, Falcons actually stole that point, though, so Levante not able to claim it despite a great timing on that hit.
Well, Gam's going to also bump into Falcons.
Yeah, man, this is getting really awkward for Gam. They might have to take that fight. Meanwhile, there is no safety to be found for Vicious. Tycon immediately getting peppered as he tries to push out and get some info. Has to go back and go for the heal. No doubt Falcons know about this. That vehicle not going to be the quietest thing in the world, so Hong F just looking for somewhere to set up shop. And the question for me right now is how aware is Gam of Falcons' position? They would have seen that flush in the kill feed, so they know Falcons are going to be somewhere, and they may have heard the shots and kind of triangulated that they're over in this direction. Now they know for sure.
Now what does Falcons want to do? Gustav's still playing back behind. He was trying to play anchor position, take a couple of shots of Vitality, but Vitality still looks like they're trying to get a piece of what's going on. Kickstart now going to play anchor and try to hold back Vitality. Gustav's going to go for an emergency pickup. I think that might just be scouting, but the way the rest of the squad's trying to regroup, maybe they don't like this approach. Given the way that these hills kind of stack together, I don't blame them. You can kind of go up that hillside. You don't have a lot of information on what's going on in the center. Meanwhile, other side of that, full sense, where are you going to go for the stop as Ian is going to be coming in same time. It's just helicopters everywhere in the circle.
Yeah, this is a revive, I believe, for full sense. So they're going to be dropping that into Songam, but it's going to be T1 who's going to drive in that direction. But they're going to see that helicopter. They're going to see the parachutes. Is that going to kind of make them rethink trying to go inside of the city proper to sort of get relooted up, get their fourth player back into the mix with some decent gear?
So whenever we look at this circle, right, there is actually a crescent that kind of comes around from where Twisted's playing, where we see, I guess, the southern section of Navi, where Liquid Gen G are. There's a hillside there that leads into a valley that nobody's really wanting to play. Full sense, though, managed to crash down just in time to get the flush onto Hong F. So they'll take that one for free, but they're still going to have to make a run into the circle. So most of our teams, like I was talking about with that, I guess, crescent hillside, all of them are going to be coming mostly from the south and mostly from the southwest, the way that we see this coming out. I don't know how we're going to see Gen G and Team Liquid be able to deal with the amount of threats because they're all just going to be rolling right on top of them.
It's going to be pretty dicey in the middle of there, so your team fighting going to have to be up to snuff for sure. AGAL has gotten inside of the circle. Oh, Swalzi, okay, that US is okay, and he seems to be as well. Himas, though, just going to roll up underneath this hill, trying to figure out exactly where Gen G is situated before he makes his stop. He's got to be a little worried, though. This hill kind of exposed on the backside. Clory's last player alive for Gam, and Falcons are in the car with him.
I thought they were going to take a drive together. No,
Did they not see him?
Maybe not. I mean, is he up against the tree side? Oh, yeah, he's in the back up against the tree.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
Oh, sneaky, sneaky.
I don't think they saw him.
I don't think so either.
No way. Oh, this is madness. Oh, Falcons. Oh, no.
If they sneak up and ruin him, that could be... if he ruins them... I mean, Falcons did the emergency pickup thing back behind all this. They know Vitality's over there, but of all the ways to go, T1 doesn't want to bully their way in just from the south directly. They're going to go over next to Calori's and Falcons. Do they fall for the same trap?
Nope. Nope, they do not.
No. In defense of Falcons, it's much easier to see Calori's positions from where Ian was standing.
That's true. And I'm not sure how much of the smoke was obscuring that too, or what was going on. But, oh well, Falcons looking to try to thwart T1 from gaining any entry into the next circle if possible. There is Hansi, who is a little bit close to some of those mortar hits, has been knocked, and Shadow not really moving to try to go for the res with their other two players. So looks like they're just going to remain dug in and seemingly leave Hansi to his own devices. Just a matter of the timing. They could still go for it. They do have a vehicle. I think maybe waiting for the mortars a bit.
I'd be a bit nervous for it, as yeah, the mortars are still coming down. This is kind of like an island, this hillside in the middle of all of this. So I don't necessarily blame them for not wanting to go to the south. That would put you right in Hakatori sightline. That wouldn't feel too good.
That would not be great. You don't want to ever be in Hakatori sightlines. Falcons, speaking of, are in the sightlines of Vitality. T1 as well getting tagged up as they try to make entry into this next circle. So big firefight there. T1 is in a really awful spot. They've got VC, AGAL's got position on them. They might just be going down early in this one.
There is nowhere to go. The only benefit is Vitality seems more focused on Falcons than going after T1. So with those shots coming out from Vitality, Vicious has turned their attention onto Vitality. T1 has managed to hop in with their car, and they're just sitting it in the circle. They managed to somehow survive a situation that they shouldn't, as it feels like everybody's decided that they want to deal with Falcons instead.
Yeah, I mean, Vitality fighting on a couple different fronts, though, so they haven't been able to really fully commit. They do have the BRDM, and Falcons having flashbacks of some earlier moments in this event. You get out of the car, though, and Shrimzy gonna make you pay the price. Quizzy going down quick. Shrimzy really locked in here on day one of the finals, looking to confirm that point with the frag. See if he gets it. No, he does not, but Tiggleton is nigh unresable.
Yeah, they still have VC back behind them. That's not much else you could do, is there's just too much pressure. Other side of this now, Gen G in some trouble. Team Liquid as well as anyone's legend trying to make a push right on top of Gen G, and this is outside the circle. Everybody just trying to fight their way in, and unfortunately, it's on top of Gen G's position.
Yeah, AGAL doing some nice work out on the edge in this game, getting some big knocks, and see if they can capitalize. Team Liquid rolling into this party as well, trying to find some kind of angle into this fight. Gen G is going to be pincered between these two squads.
Big face. I don't know. Okay, Team Liquid, sorry, that distracted me for a moment. Team Liquid trying to get the kills on the sweep side of this, but they're going to find a target-rich environment, potentially more than they might want. The Soul is the only one over here that's kind of in the circle. And don't forget, Vitality still either has to deal with VC, or they could opt into wrapping more west and be involved in this fight as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, at this point, as Vitality, it's like, well, we're probably not going deep into this game. Let's get some points. Salute, gonna dodge that util, get into the smoke. He lands that right at the feet of Cowboy, but Cowboy still wins the fight. Soul is doing some damage to AGAL, but Gen G just fighting so many different teams, so many different players. There just isn't much they can do. They're getting cut down here. Team Liquid trying to res their IGL Purdy-Curdy. AGL as well had a player go down, so they're trying to stick that res.
Moment to stop and breathe for Soul, as it is going to be a ton of friends roaming both sides real quick. See if he finds any safety. Gedrock's also making a run into the circle. Looks like Cowboy doesn't really like this approach anymore. He's going to go back to the north, but that's going to open up shots coming up from DK as well as VP if he continues on this path. And there's not much else you can go for. It's just time to send it and try to get to this hillside, and this is what Shadow is trying to play. They're going to do enough shots to discourage. Down to near on nothing. He's got himself a dip that he can stop in, but he's going to get dropped.
Yeah, I was just trying to maybe find some safety, do a little pre-scouting for the rest of his team. What in the world just happened? Soul just wiped out AGAL with one grenade, or two grenades it looks like. That is ridiculous stuff from him. He is going to go down immediately after that from Purdy-Curdy, but at least he got something out of that.
That turns a bad game into not bad game, to say the least. That was not feeling too good for Gen G. Circle's now popped. Team Liquid, they're going to have to go on the hunt yet again and try to dive right past GK. VC, and it's going to be full sense after making their jump all the way up from the north. They're going to be trying to gatekeep all of this out. The island that was kind of being held down by Shadow is just barely inside, and VP, again, with great positional awareness and how to tackle a circle, finds a great approach into the circle.
Well, they're setting up. kind of the star player for Shadow during the group stage, just making the foxhole and then just going to chill. VP, this is kind of their bread and butter, man. Playing a little bit of edge. They've got a lot of terrain to work with in front of them. You know, they're so good about kind of inching their way forward. The problem is Geeke just a step ahead in this next circle, so they will be able to find some level of safety next to this revive station, so can't go too much further forward, and you have a couple different squads that you have to deal with. Team Liquid is going to send it again towards the center of the circle where Cowboy died.
At first you don't succeed, try again, and that's a little bit of what's going on right now. Is Team Liquid is going to get eliminated. Maybe third time would have been the charm, as at least they die near each other.
If you're gonna go down with your friends, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely a tough one there for Liquid.
Here's the push from VP. They do have some high ground, but there is going to be Navi that's taking shots on the northeastern side of VP. DK is a bit more focused on what's going on with the full Sense VC situation. Levante still up for Vitality, maybe trying to get involved in that. Myth also getting dangerously close to Twisted on the other side of all of this. Is VC just doesn't have too many options. They're getting corralled over here. These are going to be the shots coming up from DK that's just going to force Vicious right into full Sense. But, I mean, so far it's working, so why fight it?
I mean, Flash is going to have to go huge here. He hasn't really seen much. That smoke obscuring a lot of his vision. There is that point claimed for Duckmai. Oh, the grenade from Flash finds the mark. Nicely timed, and he strikes for another. Tycon down. All of a sudden, Flash trying to cling to life, but he's getting shot from behind by Myth.
Myth just involved in a little bit of everything right now, and if they push that, they could find a lot more opportunities for kills, and it looks like Baron might be thinking about it as long as Kiss is going to find himself in an available position. Duel of Fates over here as Nade's going to go opposite sides of the rock. Not really going to get too much more, as it's just going to see who has more utility. Pal pretty low. Does Flash have an idea on where he's at? Depends on how that rolls down. Doesn't connect.
They might overcook that one with the underhand throw just a little bit. Pal trying to crawl forward. He's been under fire from a couple different angles, so has found a little bit of a dip for himself to hide in from the explosions. If he can get this grenade to land, though, Flash is in a lot of trouble, and he goes a little bit too far. Flash's turn up to bat.
Yeah, that Cubby could have just eaten a nade. Oh, counter nade. This is just the name of the game right now. They're essentially playing ping pong with nades just back and forth, but here comes Kiss getting a bit more involved in everything, but new circles pop. Maybe they don't want to go for it. VP also going for a rapid. These solos just can't get the reses, and Tycon trying to at least crawl over and make it close enough. His Flash just barely survives that.
He put that on a knife's edge with that first aid. Eventually gets it through. Twisted and 17 are dueling up on the northeast corner. Pau still holding on by this tree. Has some smokes to work with. Myth peels off of this fight. They don't want to commit.
Tycon coming over, just trying to provide some more utility or something else to work with, but nope. In the end, it is going to be Flash that gets the flush onto both. Okay, do you have time to get Belmoth and try to make a run into the circle? I don't know about that, because down in the lower sections of it,
jadi mainnya di bawah.
Firefight going on as Geeke tried to creep over to see if they could get a piece of what was happening with Flash, but VP is just finding more and more territory control as they pick up kill after kill. Just quiet consistency, performing time and time again.
Yeah, it just feels like they might be on for another big game. Who knows, maybe even a chicken dinner in the cards. You are going to take down Sungjong, so Geeke has been eliminated in front of you.
IP ini nggak bisa keculik satu, guys.
Yourselves, Navi still up and running with 4 themselves, so they could be very much a threat in this. Otherwise, everybody down to just 1 or 2 players. In the case of Twisted, well, goodbye Flash, but in the case of Twisted and Myth, they only have 2 left, so the big heavy hitters going to be these EMEA squads trying to secure their edges of the circle, kitty corner from each other. Gedrock's going to be chilling in the middle in a vehicle. Is that BRDM?
Maybe, I don't know. So, easy way to look at it: to the north, Navi strong; to the south, VP strong; and then to the east, the west, and the center, it's just going to be a spattering of solos trying to survive. Myth with their duo. Do get some vision onto Lucas, get the knock onto him. If anything, that might be just drawing a little bit more of an aggressive position, as Baron also does spot out Perfectix, finishes him out. Twisted just can't seem to find a way to make that one work.
Dude, look what they're doing. They're just out there on their own. They have so much confidence in their individual ability that they're taking fights against 2 different teams. Kiz is taking on all of VP by himself. Now, granted, he has the luxury of being a bit higher than them and has some cover from the crates, whereas Baron just swept over, finish off the remnants of Twisted Minds, and is now looking to regroup with his teammate. And there's going to be quite a bit of util here for Kiss to work with. A couple frags in the bag.
This is weird. We've got a reverse situation where all the teams are now playing low ground.
Ya,
We're only in
set
phase
sebenarnya
6 with only 5
kelihatan.
teams alive.
Tapi
Just brutal shifts have caused destruction to the lobby. So Myth is our high
Yeah.
ground team as a duo, and that's going to be about all she wrote. Satsuma finally going to get spotted, so we're in our top 4. But it's North versus South with Na'Vi and VP. Myth getting involved in Gedrox. Yeah, there it is. There's the BRDM. We finally got close enough to see it.
Yeah, it's kind of what I figured it was, considering he was just sitting in a vehicle in the middle of the circle. I'm like, surely that's a BRDM, right? Like, somebody would have knocked you out of the window by now. And absolutely Kiss looking to just tag that vehicle up. Doesn't want that to be a threat in the later stages of the game. Still going to have to put some fire down, but VP very aware of it. Returning. What the world is that? Ferris just hit a double mortar onto VP.
And that is their split section, too. That's going to be a big problem. Myth still has the high ground. Gedrock's actually going to roam over here. Is he going to try to flush those out by running them over? Mortar's on the chase. Nope, they're going to go and pick him up first. Sorry, Gedrox, you're denied.
Ya elah.
Gedrox, no!
Ya elah.
That is such bad luck. There was still one more mortar coming. Baron finds Nixie, and all of a sudden Virtus Pro, who had been playing this so well, is done in. Ferris mortar plus a few other kind of weird circumstances. They're going to try to hang on. One player left, and they almost had Beamy dialed in. That was just a little bit to Beamy's left.
Oh, VP in first place, but man, it has just turned terrible. Myth now running down on top of him. The Vultures are circling. Beamy, what you got? Nade prepped up. Can he manage to drop it in the right spot? Does get the knock on to Baron. So Kiss now just over here. I think just trying to find loot more than anything else.
Could be, yeah. I mean, he's just trying to get this point where he can.
Menang gak tuh?
Though, and that should be the end. Oh, that grenade bounced too far. I mean, this should be Navi's win right here, right now.
Menang Navi.
Beamy down too low. He's going to go ahead and finish it himself, and that is going to be Navi. Control of the North pays off, but really, mortar plays, man. Woo, that was cruel.
That was a nasty one from Ferris, getting 2 for 1. That's huge in that moment because it completely cuts the feet out underneath the team that's going to be the biggest threat to you. You know, to Virtus Pro's credit, they're hanging on, they're fighting tooth and nail, they're going to be in first place.
Mangga.
So they're playing really nicely, but that's going to be a
gloomy banget anjir.
Dewa nomor guys, Cagi guys, mengerikan.
Iya.
Gak ada.
Tuh kayak mukanya tuh gloomy
pick lagi. Gue stack 2-nya.
Hah?
SR yang berapa?
R8
masih?
R8.
50.000 yang ini 50.000.
Mangga.
Gue udah kan Mas waktu yang milih.
Iya, Cagi gue yang milihin.
Cagi
apa nih Miramar ya?
Oh, kebagian aja doknya, makanya belum enak jam 9.
Miramar ya? Apa Rondo nih ya? Rondo ding.
Iya.
Rondo langsung ya?
Bener Coach K, kita pilih di stack 1.
Angel, Taigo,
Rondo,
Miramar. Hah? Ini Taigo barusan.
Rondo, Mayu sama Noya, Cagi.
Ini Taigo barusan Ran.
Ini Miramar. Iya, di sini Miramar.
Total udah berapa Cagi-Cagi itu cair? Berapa ya?
500
hampir gope guys harusnya guys.
Iya, hampir gope itu.
Ini hari keempat kan ya.
Udah ikut WP doang itu dia.
Tuh kan covid kayaknya jadi halap.
Oke,
apa?
Stack 9.
Ayam goreng uduk sama tahu tempe aja udah cukup sih itu mah.
Aku masih 6.
Rania masih 6.
Rania 6.
Asli dah.
Cagi udah 1 udah fix itu.
Nih, biar lucu. Nom 5 1 2 5 6 9 10. Anjay.
Ternyata chicken tuh.
Terlalu apa ya, tes psikologi itu, Nom? Biasanya ada tuh di psikotes.
Ya dong, kalau psikotes justru angkanya nggak
Jagi.
gitu. Ntar mau Star Masto.
Myanmar versus Malai over berapa?
Nggak tahu ku.
Malam ini keluar angka berapa, Cagi?
Nggak tahu juga, ini hoki guys. Bayangkan
pengalaman.
Asli.
Ini ada 16 tim yang main ya. Gue nebak gitu nih.
Apa berpengalaman?
Probabilitasnya itu Cagi
tapi
kalau dihitung secara matematis Cagi.
Ya enak gak sih jam
ya kan.
duduk-duduk ini.
Itu lu menebak
chance-nya berapa tuh, Mas?
6,25% Cagi.
Mending apa ya jam segini enaknya.
Itu lu udah king itu Cagi.
Udah cocok.
Apa di situ kalau yang
analis atau
Cilengsi? Lu masih Cilengsi kan? Gak ngekos gitu?
Apa tadi?
terakhirnya apa tadi?
Itu bukan analis sih, jujur.
Analis itu aja
Job
bisa
desk-nya
ditebak.
nggak begitu.
Apalagi rotasi ini musuh bisa gua
Win
tebak.
rate lu
rotasinya,
tinggi
tebak
Cagi, di atas
skor bola.
50% Cagi. Win rate lu tinggi Cagi.
KD gua naik ya?
Hoki banget
Win
Cagi,
rate.
hati-hati Jagi, jangan keluar
KD.
rumah takut
KD sih.
kenapa-kenapa.
Iya, win rate gua
Gila
juga
banget,
tinggi.
takut dibegal, Cok.
Kemarin kehabisan bulu.
Nih ada yang nanya jam berapa
Ya.
gua harus narik Cagi. Itu ada yang mau begal Cagi katanya.
Udah lah, gua
Gila aja.
Nomor HP Cagi, guys.
Woi, jangan.
Alamat.
Woi.
Ada nih gua.
Langsung
Jangan.
pada WA aja ya. Minta angka.
Ya di situ. Yang aneh.
Nama Kamal. HP
Guduk.
kumpulin gimana mau deman.
Menurut lu lebih sakti Cagi atau Noya? Cagi lah anjing, Noya apaan? Setan doang.
Tahu ya?
Iya nih, prediksi, Bro. Gila. Noya setan doang, enggak ada
Ini kan
tai-tai
Mas
sama
Okto
Cagi.
nih milihin SX1 kalau entar chicken SE-nya kan
Ya
nggak salah gua kan?
alhamdulillah.
Iya kan?
Lo kan nggak salah, Cagi nggak ada yang menyalahkan.
Enggak, bukan salah. Maksudnya tuh hoki gua nebaknya gitu loh.
Tapi Cagi, dari hati kecil lu.
Apa?
Dari hati kecil lu sebenarnya lu prediksi berapa? Biar kita tahu aja.
SE ya?
Iya, hati kecil aja, nggak masuk ini.
Ini karena
Pas mie ayam kan. Kemarin udah mie ayam.
Nih ya, prediksi gua nih kan prediksi gua
Apa ya?
SE di match
Ayam goreng sih enak. Ayam goreng.
Tiba-tiba. Moodnya lagi bagus.
Ya. Ayam sabana kayak gitu.
Tiga ya, dari hati kecil lu ya.
Ya, hati kecil lu 3
Ya,
ya.
hati kecil lu 3, tapi kan dipilihin 1 ya kan.
Ya, dipilih 1 ya. Kalau benar tuh 3.
Nah,
gua ya.
ini feeling gua tiba-tiba ada yang masang di website nih, kacau guys, jangan guys ya.
Woi, jangan gitu.
Nggak boleh ya, jangan ya.
Nono ya.
Nono ya, jangan ikutin kata Cagi.
Jangan ditiru, guys. Ini untuk orang yang udah terbiasa aja kayak Cagi.
Terbiasa.
Buset, terbiasa kayak
ya.
Cagi, woi.
Cagi versus
Kemarin
OC
Kamal
siapa yang
ngejoki
jitu, Mas?
redeem referral. Emang iya Cagi?
Beda spesifikasi deh.
OC tuh di bawah ketek gua, guys.
Tuh, guys ya.
Cagi.
Rekam posting, guys, langsung.
Langsung klip biar dimaki-maki sama Ose, please, sumpah, please. Ini.
Kasih highlight Cagi nebak berapa kali ya? 4 apa 5 kali berarti ya? Coba
Terpendam,
kasih klip.
Kemarin gua 2 kali ya, bener ya?
Iya, D1 kan 2 kali juga yang milih sama top kill apa ya?
Yang dari 3 kan top kill tuh dari 3, Mas.
Lupa lah pokoknya banyak dah, kan banyak jenis kuisnya.
Terus yang apa tuh satu lagi? SE rank berapa? R8 rank berapa ya?
Ya ketahuan masang. Ya salah.
Iya. R8 rank berapa gitu.
Tuh gue bikin angka 3 di sebelah nama, di sebelah dia. Hati kecil.
Hati kecil deh.
Lama gitu mikirnya Cagi buka kartu dulu kan baru ngomong.
Anjing tarot, mainnya tarot. Update, makasih 40 bulannya ya.
Tal.
4 angka bisa
ada buntal gak?
4 angka apa anjir?
Enggak tahu, gue juga enggak tahu tuh.
Buntal ada, buntal.
Pura-pura enggak tahu.
Langsung di klip ya, taruh gosip bareng aja. Tag OC.
Buntal sama AKM ada sih dari kemarin.
Mana OC? OC di atas tuh.
Ya, AKM udah ngeklip dia. Aku udah lihat kontennya. Jedak-jeduk itu. Si salt lagi dah.
Cagi udah D2 dapat quiz gue itu Mas yang SE stack berapa? Oh iya, dari Bang Kotska bener juga ya. Ada juga dia. Udah guys, 3 hari tuh ada dia nggak pernah absen. Sumpah. Ini hari keempat langsung ngeklaim nih. 4 strike anjing 4 hari.
Pakai dewa pelindung dia bukan.
Iya juga.
Aduh. Ya kan yang dapat bukan gua aja, Mas.
Kapan nyalahin Cagi, nggak nyalahin. Kita cuma merangkum
ini
aja.
Kan kita lagi menyimpulkan yang kemarin, menyimpulkan.
Oke.
Spanyol dapat berapa Cagi kemarin katanya?
Nggak ada, guys.
Kemarin masang berapa Cagi?
Nggak ada masang.
Nggak ada yang streaming kok.
Cagi, tebak pemilu 2029 menang lagi nggak?
Aduh, pembahasannya ke situ lagi. Oke, gas.
Ini bulan depan Cagi musim mereng kah?
Bukan, kok diprediksi situ.
Kok dia udah nggak pakai jaket PUBG sih?
Bagus ya Ran ya?
Lagi di laundry katanya Ran.
Iya.
Beef pizza
Warnanya hijau keren.
atau ini choco muffin. Tapi kita jangan yang manis terus sih.
Ini klaim gift card itu gimana sih, Bit?
Chicken curry.
Kenapa, Mas?
Klaim gift card itu yang kemarin lo bilang ya?
Iya, yang harus bikin akunnya
Atau-
pakai email bisnis.
Waduh.
Bagel.
Nggak bisa juga, bodo amat gua. Bisa
Select
diklaim duitnya.
product.
Lumayan padahal $30.
There is no option valid Indonesia. Hebat anjing.
Iya kan?
Connect kemana? Crafton.
Guna tuh.
Ya udah, ngincer jersey-nya deh gua.
Itu ya, bagus tuh.
Oh.
Nitip masuk.
Katanya lu mau ngincer yang ini.
Gak bisa ya.
Jalan-jalannya yang VIP tuh. Paket VIP.
Jalan-jalan.
Itu gua nobar semuanya, Bit, kalau itu, Bit.
Enggak, Mas. PUBG aman sampai Minggu.
Iya, lu
Fan,
pikir
Bang Fan
poin
lo
gua
ini.
5 juta langsung.
Aman.
Gila lu.
Permen aku habis.
Kecuali yang nonton gua 100.000 watching now. Nah, itu mungkin bisa tuh 3 hari selesai.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the green room. It was an observation that I think, especially, I mean, that was never really a thing, right? Especially last year, all last year. It's just if you were in a bad spot, if you're in the center.
Berarti battle pass jalan gue ya.
There was no cover. If you didn't have a car to kind of help
Lah iya.
buffer that zone for you, you were cooked. So
Claim.
I actually think this destructible cover
Claim.
or terrain is probably one of the coolest additions because it's really allowed these teams to flex in those endgame circles.
I agree because like it gets more teams into the end zone and we love a chaotic end zone as well.
Mana?
Tommy.
Tommy.
Kanguru. Woi,
buang ini.
dilempar. Udah nggak mood ya. Wah, iklan. Yensi. Kok PUBG M itu?
INB.
Yensi. November. Arab. Umroh.
Wen ya,
Iya,
Yensi.
panas ya sih.
Nggak tahu.
Ya ampun.
Itu si Benny kan create kemarin katanya 48 derajat.
Hebat.
Tamat lah itu. Welcome.
Yo, ini gift card useless semua anjing.
Nggak bisa kan? Cuman
Kasih ke
bisa
Tomo ya, Pak,
klaim
ya?
Steam. Iya. INC siapa aja yang main Indo? Cimoy, Teddy, Trik, Setsuna. Cadangannya Jack.
Kalau batch di
Aimbot
Twitch gimana
Imbot.
anjing? Gua harus connect Twitch-nya dulu gitu.
Cadangannya siapa?
Jack Zimbot.
Jack Imbot.
Wen ya Hari ya. Di sana ya Wen ya, kayak Maan main PGC. PNC
Wen ya.
pernah, PGC pernah. Wen ya.
Wen ya, ikut ya.
Roster PNC, ya PNC 2024. Wen ya bisa main internasional kayak Bang Ari.
Amin.
Wen ya.
Aminnya nih masalahnya agak lama nih Om, 1 tahun
Dia
lagi
panjang.
nih. Masih lama
kan
nih qualifiernya lagi nih.
Ya 1 tahun menunggu.
Kalau nggak ditunggu juga cepet.
Iya kan kita udah lewat 25 tahun.
Soalnya besok nih nggak bisa, nggak akan mungkin bisa nih PGC nih ya.
Kok iso?
Amin.
Kan nggak punya poin.
Oh iya ya.
Poinku
1
0
tahun
saking
lagi.
ay. Tiba-tiba di invite PGS Om. Cover. Gila, kayak mana tuh?
Mimpi basah
PGS.
namanya, Bet. AE
Mas,
dulu, ini dulu ya kan. SE dulu.
Ada namanya tiba-tiba PGS aja ada yang di invite tuh bukan
Cagi, mana
partner
Cagi?
tim Mas.
Kenapa KM?
Misalnya tiba-tiba dilirik, wih ini tim siapa? Nggak ada yang tahu Mas, kita mimpi
basah.
mimpi yang akan terjadi gitu loh.
Yang nanti yang jalan itu kamu habis. Yoga.
Woi,
Cover. Ya kan jalan ini kan di syuting dulu.
Apa gunanya hidup 1000 tahun?
Kalau nggak lolos
kita sikat kah?
PNS.
Nggak usah, cukup
Om Bro
OC
Syari
aja
ya.
AKM yang tadi. PUBG game.
Ini kalau gua ngonekin Twitch-nya belakangan, badge-nya belakangan juga gitu.
Itu badge-nya untuk yang streaming di sana.
Oh, buat yang streaming.
Iya.
Gue
Tempat
ngetes
duduknya diganti ya.
ngetes
Miramar.
komen di ininya nih.
Iya,
Sorry,
Bit,
sorry.
lu mah.
Men.
Minta tolong Terawang ke Cagi aja, bisa nggak ikut turnamen tier S tahun depan, coba. Bisa nggak Cagi, Mbit tuh.
Jauhan. Bisa. Untuk gue bisa.
Oh, amin.
Men.
Ending around Alcantara. So, the question Claris was asking it mean to Avenger. 17 Gaming. Did they do it? Do they have the gusto right now?
Yeah. I never doubt 17 at this point. Like, they've just won too many times at PGS's. Like, they're that team that'll surprise you when you're kind of starting to count them out. That's when they're gonna bounce back. But right now, I'm just fine with them. I think they can, maybe play a little bit better in terms of looking for kills instead of looking for center circle, like mid game. Like, they seem to be one of these teams that's looking to make that dive in the middle, but and I get it, because with the ability to dig with the pickaxes and things like that, like, you can make those center circle positions work, but it takes time to get those set up. So in those moments, you're going to be very vulnerable, and they're getting kind of caught up in transitional moments where they're kind of trying to fight teams, and then they're, maybe losing a player on the drive, or they're stuck in a fight where it looks fair initially, but then the other teams are so hungry for the third parties that they're getting caught in some of those spots.
I do not know what's going on with China. I know that we often have been seeing a lot of our internationals down in Southeast Asia, much more time zone appropriate. Don't want to come up with excuses as we do see the circle pop, but it feels like right now, yes, you are right. The moment you start counting out 17 is whenever they rise up, but this just isn't 17 in my opinion. I don't know what's going on. China's just kind of really suffered at EWC this year.
I think the meta just that they have regionally isn't working right now. Like, where
that's kind of true. A little bit of a mashup against metas from other regions could be a problem.
I think to me, when I look at them and the way they're playing, since the switch to DPP this year, is that they want to get those center positions and just kind of lock it down, right? They want to play that like safe standard game where you're able to kind of, dig in and look around you very easily and just kind of track all your targets and try to hold that through. But there's so many good teams in this lobby that are great at third partying. Oh, Gen.G, that is so scary. Bolt in hand, and they aren't going to continue to try to put pressure onto Quizzy. Vitality going to thwart. We've seen this from Gen.G where they look for these early picks a couple times in this event. It actually has worked out a lot. They just haven't been able to kind of scale into the late game off of that. So that's going to be thwarted this time, though.
Rotate starting to come in, as of course we do have that very southern plane path. AGAL as well as Full Sense going to be pretty decent spots off the get-go. I mean, we know we've seen the circle a lot. Pulls down to Resort can be problematic, but at least it's got enough space for a lot of teams to play. If it pulls to the west of Los Leones, that's a little bit more field heavy. There's still a couple of dips, hills, but it gets a lot dicier over there. Down to the southwest, a bit better. You never know. We might get Partona. The way these circles go, Partona is still on the table. You never know.
You never know.
But Los Leones is eating up so much space in this. You feel like it's going to be a component for rotates, and a lot of what we're going to be looking at moving into later stages is T1 wants to get ahead of it all. They're coming in over on the west, around Chumacera. Everybody else that went very far to the northwest is going to have a really hellacious rotate.
Yeah, last year I would have said there's like a 75% chance this ends by resort, but obviously the circles are different this year, so who the heck knows where it's going to go. Definitely anybody's guess at this point, and we've seen some pretty crazy shifts with the new settings as Virtus Pro on foot, being diligent. I have to be so, or you have to be so like happy about Virtus Pro if you're a VP fan with the way they're playing here today. Like the way they set up these like mobile moving forts where they're able to cover each other so well, and you know they've got their cars positioned safely. They're quick to start digging and set up their little fortifications, and the way that they defend them, very, very impressive. And the way they're able to use them as well as kind of a turret position to get kills is really, really, really impressive.
I'm loving early game bully Team Liquid right now. Finding another kill in there. It's just a point here and there. It hasn't really paid off for them in the later stages yet, but it's keeping them in the competition, kind of in that pack that's still on the chase. It's really just, what, 8 points into them and Navi. We're only on game number 3, so that could change the longer this brews. But we talked about 17. We've been talking a lot about T1 as well, so they're kind of bumping into each other in rotate. Wimbo gonna go down, and man, it is Heather still popping off, and 17 still having trouble.
Well, they're kind of circling the wagons here, R17, so T1, if they stick around too much longer, might be in trouble. Ian has a couple shots ring out next to him, going to be able to use that hillside along the road to protect himself. And Heather, he ran out of bullets. Otherwise, he might have had a knock, might still get it anyway on the Lil Goes. Just going to find it.
I don't think you want that smoke right now, 17. You got to kind of figure out what's going on. And it just pulled him apart, man. T1, full brutality coming after him. It is just Xiao Wu running for the hills as 17 just can't find a way to make the game work.
Honest, it was Heather with that mini hitting those shots. Yep. That is ridiculous stuff. He is unbelievable right now. And he's a player that I have been very, very high on for years. Since he kind of splashed onto the scene in Korea. And I mean, he's even better than I could have ever imagined with the way he's playing at EWC. This is his best yet.
Yeah, we're definitely in a opposing era for T1 right now, as it feels like they're trying to take control of their destiny as fast as possible, instead of leaving it until the tail end and having those big games and those crazy plays. They're just bringing it off the start. Like, you can see that was a shutdown moment. T1 spins around and says, you don't mess with me in the early game. We will fight you, we will kill you, and we will ruin you.
Yeah, Heather's the mean girl, man. Like, he's just not having any of it.
Regina George, there you go. I mean, he does kind of have a mean girl name.
He does. It is like one of the quintessential mean girl names for sure.
I see. You stumbled across something. As Xiao Wu, run, Xiao Wu, you in trouble. Batulins is mad and he wants points.
Kejar.
For 17, we just talked about how we thought maybe they could have a bounce back, but they get caught up with T1. I think this is going to be a good game for Team Liquid, maybe. They're coming in pretty early compared to a lot of the rest of the lobby. I mean, they're like first half, believe it or not. They might be looking at this game. They even stopped to get a kill, and they're probably like, oh, we're going to be coming in so late. This is going to be a tough circle for us. Actually, they're pretty well situated to maybe do something in this. I don't know.
I just get nervous on Circle 1, though. Like, yes, they have a good position over the west, but look at the cluster in the center, man. We've had such a centered meta that's popped off with these squads that just really want to frag out early and fight, that I feel like if you come into this stage, if you get Circle up, great. If it pops this direction, which it could do the way these circles go, but it feels like Circle 2 is almost our friendliest circle time and time again. That's given everybody right over there, and then it starts the hard shift craziness afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. It usually, too, is still going to be safe enough that everybody's fine. This is
Vitality?
Yeah, Quizzy's trying to get the heck out of here. Geeke is going to see him on the exit. Seems like it's going to be A-OK with Hello My Bad driving there. The Coop offering some pretty good protection with that low-hanging roof that it has. Blocks the bullets pretty nicely, so they will get away. And Geeke going to be on the very outside, the very last team to be getting into the circle, at least as far as we can see for now.
Falcons doing a very eastern wrap to come into this. Myth, a very western wrap. Everybody else just kind of coming in from the north. Xiao Wu's going to continue to find squad upon squad passing him by, but I think he's just kind of hunkered down out there as VC does stop. I think that they're just trying to scout, though. I don't think that they're really on the hunt for any solos or any remnants hanging out over there, as I think he just kind of, I don't know, did he get any of the blue chips? Did Jalou, or did he just have to run? I think he just had to run, didn't he?
Good question. I'm not too sure. Maybe he tried to circle back for it. We didn't get to see.
Or he's waiting there to circle back?
Could be. I mean, there's so much going on the map right now. I didn't catch it, so I'll have to wait. I mean, he's probably thinking about it at the very least and would love to. It's still early enough that if he could get them, would be a nice chance. And he has a revive station not too far. Okay. Well, it could still happen, Matt. It could still happen.
It could still happen. The dream continues. But we get that circle that we saw so many times last year with a little bit more of a southern lean, keeping in Partona and Resort. So our squads from the north around Los Leones just going to have to condense in. But the long wrap coming up from Falcons as well as Myth probably going to pay off pretty big.
Yeah, actually, Falcons are going to be not too displeased with this circle. Once they can get in there. Virtus Pro as well, perfectly fine with this because they're going to be able to skirt past AGAL, get a little bit more southernly shifted, get those cars into the warehouses, get them safe as well as they can. And meanwhile, AGAL is busy looking at some stuff going on around them. T1 making the move right by Full Sense. They have Shadow Esports just ahead of them, but Shadow has pulled up shop pretty well south up on the compound. Meanwhile, T1 is going to take this edge of the mountainside.
This is such a great spot to play if they can keep the defense on there. Really, it's got a couple of vulnerability approaches, most notably over into the west, but I think that they're keeping the player over there waiting. Falcon's going to wrap into the south. Could be bumping into Shadow like you were talking about one moment ago. VP's going to make landfall right next to Na'Vi. Those guys had a little bit of bad blood after last game. AGAL running a 2-2 split. Does keep control over territory, but it feels a little bit dicey if anybody opts into a crash because that has been a theme. Go for a 2-2 split too long in this, and boy, suddenly it's just a full man like clown car that's on top of you.
Exactly. Because of how aggressive some teams want to be in the middle of the game towards the center of the circle and how little options you usually have. If you're not confident in your edge fighting, you got to take a crash, you got to take a play. And I'm right there with you, Matt. I'm always looking at those 2-2 splits on the map to think, okay, when the circle starts to close for 3 especially, I'm like, you need to group up and you got to find a way to do that. If you can't, you are going to probably run into problems where you are in an odd man fight.
I mean, even if they don't have, even if everything stays fine and AGL tries to just regroup off of this in a little while, they're going to have to deal with T1, Twisted, I think, should have a sight line, VP, and maybe Na'Vi, all trying to catch anybody on a rotate there. That's, it's not a long rotate that they have to do, but it's going to be a scary one.
No, for sure, it is. And if you want to see a team that does 2-2s really well right now, that's T1. Like, they probably have the best 2-2 split game that we've seen here at EWC so far. They run them constantly, and they're always in good positions where they can group up when they need to. They're really good about the timings on all of that, so that's been a big key to their game. Myth as well, a great edge team, very different play style than T1, and they are making it work for themselves very nicely. Geek is going to be like, we know we're coming into this late. Let's get in the plane. And by God, if this goes Partona, they're going to be in a great position.
Yes. We still got a couple of seconds before we figure it out. Game's a little bit gate kept out right now, but it's by Vitality, who's trying to get into the circle. The northeastern area that they're playing from is pretty fine. I think that Jalou has gone back and he's tried to collect those blue chips, and he might be making a path back over to Res Beacon to try to rally back in 17 Gaming, but this is going to be playing from the back foot without a doubt. Myth is also called an emergency pickup, not comfy in their position, but if the circle plays it,
nice.
No Dolly Partona for us.
We tried. We did our best. We're going west to Resort this time, so that field that AGAL in is dead center. That's a rough spot to be in if you're not already in one of the compounds that are around the edges. You're going to be kind of forced to play around those irrigation machines and the sprinklers and all that other accoutrement that sits inside of that field proper. Pow will fall. Belmoth going to claim a point for Full Sense. Vitality moving around the north side here. They're going to be able to skirt Twisted Minds, who's got a bit of a setup on the edge of Resort. They're going to be holding the line right now. Nothing too dangerous just yet.
Yeah, it's mostly just Vicious having a problem. GK trying to just find something in here. Remember, we saw them trying to go for a little bit more of a desperation play to get into a point. They at least found something, but it's going to be Genjitos to the north of where they're playing. Duckmai is going to be coming on the other side, kind of a bit more to the west of what we see going on over here. AGAL holding down those sprinklers and everything you were talking about just one moment ago. Team Liquid's got to bully their way into the east as there's not a lot of territory to be had. It looks like Myth going to try to make landfall right on top of VP, and that is instantly punished, man. VP just finding all the points.
Nice,
the murder squad just can't find a way to get it rolling this time.
Oh, that has got to feel great for VP. You just eliminated one of the biggest threats in this lobby, and you're going to be sitting pretty central-ish of the circle. Very nicely done there. I think Myth just feeling like they didn't have a lot of good options. I would have rather seen them just try to fight bottom edge, but meanwhile, Full Sense is losing players to Team Liquid. That's over on the west side. Full Sense has that high ground warehouse that's just above their position, along with a player next to Team Liquid. They got to dig him out.
But here's the problem. T1 saw that firefight. They're already moving down the hillside to see if they can get a piece. Team Liquid still has Kurt down, but just managed to get the res right as Ian gets there and gets knocked on to Cowboy. So suddenly Team Liquid just trying to fight for a position inside the circle. Thought that they were starting to find some successes. T1 just runs in and snatches it away.
And look at this, Full Sense shows up to the party and immediately Tanadol dusts Alo. Belmoth with the grenade gets Purdy Curdy gone. And Team Liquid all of a sudden crumbling. The real question is, how much does T1 want to commit? Well, they're paying the price. It's actually D from range. Gets the knock on the end.
I mean, Duck might even trying to get a piece of that. Himas was also trying to get involved. So T1 continues to roam over here. They keep one of their players and Heather over in this position to go for the res. Raining is going to go ahead and try to see if he can get over there, provide some support. Type has actually jumped over into the northern area. Has got a compound right as 17 is coming back in off of their recall. And it's going to be right next to Xiao Wu. So T1 still looming large back behind all of this. Is how good is the defense going to show up for Team Liquid? Because I think that T1 wants this.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, that was about 600 meters that D just got that knock on the EN with the M16. Disgusting shooting there. As a Cowboy playing front door, going to close it. They're opening up for a little bit of a barrage, expecting T1 to be behind that coop, but they're actually not. So they're going to first start with the molly to try to force them into other windows. I would assume that the grenades are going to follow up into the right-hand side. Yes, but nicely dodged there by Luke. He's not going to take any damage from that. EN now looking to try to flush him out, see if he can catch him going back in. Cooks the grenade well, but again, Luke, very nicely done to avoid any damage.
Just a full push. You can see the Team Liquid was hoping maybe they could stall this out enough that the third party could come in. Not going to find much, but Cowboy does get the knock on one. Type instantly lands back over here. Assist, and of course, it's going to be Heather that gets the last, killing it all. T1 finds 7 kills already. It is now Jin G's turn. As it is time to fight up in the northeast. This isn't even near the circle. Vitality just pouncing on this as well.
Yeah, Gam gets in here. They're going to get dealt with. Salute with a P90. Thinking about trying to stick the res, but those sound cues going to be oh so important. The grenades up and over the top, not finding anything. Salute finds one. That's Gedrock's down, looking for a little bit more, using the safety of these crates to try to hide. P90 in hand, goes around the outside, finds another, and he gets lit up.
Yeah, the hunt is now on. Quizzy going to be leading the path around the side. Can he get another? G gets eliminated. Vitality plays it fast and furious. They still need to get into the circle, though, but managed to find some kills of their own, sitting at 7, and a climb coming up for them. VP's got a great position in this new circle, as Falcons now also going to be touching the safety of the circle, but it's going to be very close to a 2-2 split coming up from Shadow.
I like this from Falcons. You're going to be pretty safe underneath this hillside. There's not a ton that Shadow can do about it. My real question is how much angle does Na'Vi have into this? Probably not much, given that, again, everything kind of uphill in front of Falcons. So you're at least going to be able to find some level of safety here, depending on how much the next circle hard shifts. You will have to do some driving potentially, but maybe you can find that pick onto Shadow Esports and make that aggressive maneuver. As we can see on the map, there's a big 2-2 split. Oh, Quizzy, no. No.
And they can't
Come
really
pick him up, guys. I
mean, it's pretty far away. VP's taking those shots from, I don't know, probably like 500 meters away, so maybe Quizzy can get over there in time. 17's got some loot, and it's going to be enough to maybe make a knock on to Ian, but he's already got a nade prepped on the other side. Ian's got to just go ahead and reinforce this position again. They keep trying to go down to that hillside they were playing before, but squad upon squad just crashes into this point, and they'll take the kills every single time.
T1 might lose E-End here, and that wouldn't be the end of the world. Grenade around the corner. Wenbo had moved to the other side, so he's not going to take any damage. There isn't much heals, isn't much to work with for this beat up, called back in 17 squad. Type finds one. This might just be more points going to T1. Oh, what a spray from Wenbo with the MP5.
I mean, 17 needed that. It just wasn't finding anything. Heather's still going to have an idea on what's happening with the pusher on the other side of all of this. Couple of flashes going to come out. Good play. Peeks around the other side of it. Heather just finds it yet again. Every single time it feels like there's a problem for T1. Heather solves it.
Dude, he is so good. That was a perfectly placed stun, and that nullified that pumped shotgun, and it's going to put that into the hands of T1. There is Duckmai looming on the edge of this fight. He might have a role to play in this. Type might be in trouble. The longer he stays out there, the more likely he is to die to a backstab from Duckmai, but Duckmai isn't really looking into this just now. Wenbo, I don't think he has any health left to use to heal up. He's just on a sliver, and that should be it. There you go.
Okay, well, 17 tries to rally something back together and instantly gets punished on it. T1 still knows that the hillside that they've been kind of bouncing back and forth between is going to be open behind them. They should feel good with that. Duckmai's got to make a run of his own. Vitality needs to get in the circle. Nothing going to feel good about it. Twisted, how on earth do you get around Na'Vi to get into a circle that's going to have Falcons to the south and VP defending it all?
Yeah, this is really nice for Falcons. They're able to just quietly backfill Shadow Esports as they finally group up into 4. Shadow going to be making another deep run into this one. 3-1 split in the current circle. They've got a nice compound. Should find themselves some pretty good placement points at the very least. Vitality, one of those teams on the outside, but I think they're going to have to just kind of fight their way through AGL to get a spot in.
Oh, Twisted. This rotate doesn't feel good. There's one down. A lot of damage onto the rest. It's going to be now Falcons getting a piece. Other side of it, Perfectix nowhere to go. Batulans isn't over here. Expecting this to go bad, he stayed behind, but now he's all by his lonesome and back to snake life.
Yeah, this one's going to be frustrating for Twisted. Right now, it's a donut in the game for them. There just isn't a lot they can do. Hakatori has the M24. I'd love to see him pop off a bit with that. Nixie tries to go out there, claim a little bit of prize that he's going to pay. Trimsy is just continuing the warpath. He has been outrageously good. Kickstart will claim the point, but it's a knock from Trimsy.
If Falcons find success, it's going to be based off of Shrimsy because he is coming into this mad, man. I don't know what is going on. Na'Vi does manage to sneak by the positioning from VP on one side, but that's going to make them a bit more vulnerable to the Falcons' position. Batulin's going to just try to creep in, but Favor is still back behind for Na'Vi, was trying to cover, make sure that VP couldn't get too crazy on him. So he's still pretty isolated. If he runs down that hillside, he is going to get punished quick. Vitality did find an entrance up next to the sprinklers, and it's going to be near where AGAL is playing. But that also puts you next to T1. And as you can see, that's never a good place to be.
Nope, that is about the last place you want to be in any circle. Right now, this team, look at this. They're a man down, and they're still happy to try to take a fight. I mean, they had some room to play with to try to play it safe, but that's not going to be the name of their game. That Molly right in front of the T1 player's face as the Warriors coming through, trying to find that flush. Hello, my bad. Has that P90 that he picked up off of Salute's body. The blue zone, and he's going to run out of the blue zone grenade. Has to go for that first aid.
AGL looks like they want to get a bit more of what's going on, but they do spot out the 2-1, so that's going to be Twisted now down and out. Heather does get knocked. It's going to be Duckmai, the sneaky snake back behind all of this. The solo trying to get involved. Circle pops away, and it goes right to Shadow Esports. So the firefighting on the hillside is going to start popping off as now Falcons have to push into, well, actually Na'Vi has to push into Falcons. VP is going to be defending the other side. Vitality manages to finish off T1 at least for a reprieve on the circle, but it's them and VP tied up at 34.
And Duckmai eventually did end up biting T1 in the back, and he found quite a chunk, and Vitality knew that they had that moment to capitalize. This looks pretty nice for Falcons or Na'Vi if they can come through it clean. AGAL as well, still 4 up. I mean, of course, Shadow has the compound, has the circle, so they're going to be feeling pretty good about having the best odds to potentially take the chicken dinner. It's just, can they kind of hold off these really talented, aggressive squads that are going to be around them? Car's on kind of an awkward slope there. It's going to be tough to drive it up the hill for Falcons. They're just trying to keep Na'Vi at bay.
Nobody can really go into the circle easy from the east either. AGL is up on the top of it. These squads know that they need to fight, try to find some kills over here because it's pretty much a kind of a sprinkler field due east on the circle. So fight if you can find it, and it's stalled out any form of movement. VP is still also stuck, kind of just got their duo up looking at the warehouse and what's going to be going on over there. So couple of shots coming out. Oh, AGL destroyed. Does get the knock on to Beamy. That's going to stall out everything even more. If anything, though, this is really big for Vitality because they've got way more breathing room up into the north. They're kind of containing anyone's legend who's trying to contain VP, but Corexy, so few options. He's just going to try to send it, use the opportunity of this firefight going on between Na'Vi as well as Falcons. Hakatori just drops it right on the Shrimsy.
Kickstartnya.
What a hold, and he's got a Panzer behind this. He's looking to get the player. He does some damage, tickles the ankles, and takes another one down. Kickstart right back to it, gets behind the coop, claims some more points. Just going to be, is this grenade going to be well cooked? Kickstart senses it coming, gets down just in time.
Oh.
Kickstart takes them all down.
Gets it in the end, but he still has to run up. He's already weakened. Right as soon as he peaks atop that hill, it is going to get punished fast. Other side of the world, Vitality starting to jockey up against anyone's legend. Anyone's legend just trying to fight their way into the circle, but it's going to be a great setup. And a mortar from Hello My Bad, waiting and holding everybody into position. That's the job of this duo. Keep them contained, mark it up, and can Hello My Bad drop the boom on them?
Let's see. Yes, he can. He got Himas. He took down the biggest danger.
Anjir.
It's another one of the Salalzi. Oh my word.
Yellow.
Delwyn getting tagged up. I think that was the P90 from Hello, my bad there. So everything crumbling.
Shadow's flanking on this one. They see an opportunity to take control over the game. It's Jexy. He hits the shots on the Hello, my bad. The mortar now down.
Nice.
Vitality is eliminated. Shadow
Ikan nggak sih? Bisa.
got to fight up against anyone's legend.
I don't think Kit can get
Aduh,
back into the circle.
Falconnya.
He's just trying to heal through this as best as he can, but it's not going to be too much longer before he succumbs to that blue damage. Meanwhile, a pause in the fight. AGAL back up to 4 strong despite significant damage dealt by the side of Vitality, who'll go down in 3rd. A great timing there from Shadow, though. Knew they needed to get active, and better late than never.
This is 7th and 8th place, respectively. Would not have expected that on the start of the day as Shadow and Anyone's Legend. Now, Anyone's Legend have to fight their way into this circle. Kamal's doing a good job on keeping control over that the field side of all of this, while the other 3 are keeping control over the hill. AGAL has a firing line that we know can just absolutely demolish teams, and they might be leaning into it. It's just going to be 3 inside of a car, tail end back behind that, try to jump over this hill on the other side, run down the fields, take that southern position. Kamal's going to have all the pressure instantly put back onto him. No clean sight lines popping yet. Kamal's, can you defend as though AGAL just steals this, runs right up into their face, and takes it away from them.
It's a really nice read here by AGAL, realizing that Shadow had pushed out with quite a few players, so that means that this compound was going to be weak, if not completely wide open, and they're going to capitalize on that. So immediately, Shadow has to reinforce this. They can't give up the longhouse cover to AGAL for free, so they are going to challenge it. Molly on the outside, not really going to do much there. Goes a little bit too deep to cover the doorway, so AGAL able to take their half of the longhouse.
They're back up against the blue zone again. At least they got into it. Found a way to navigate this pretty clean. It was a good read on how to hold the circle. You did a great job on explaining through all of it. But Kamals has got to be the guy that keeps the contain open.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Hansi gets one as well. So now AGAL, after a great rotate, in some trouble, but notice Delwyn's position. He's playing the other side of the rocks. Can he find a good angle? Yes. Does get the knock on to Jexy, and is pulling all the aggro. Finds another one onto Hansi.
It's a good start here.
Nice. Satu lagi.
Again, gonna claim another, and Shadow has 2 players up. AGAL just Salalzi destroy. Sticking the res. Looks like he's gonna be afforded the time, but the problem is while you do this, that means Shadow is also gonna have the time to go for the reses themselves. That's a great initial util barrage from Shadow. Had the blue zones to force players into positions where the frags could connect onto the backside. Really nicely done by them. Can they capitalize? Can they close this game out?
Setsuna had a couple of clutch moments whenever it was needed. Can he find another one? Hansi already gets the information, knows where Salalzi is, tries to deny out the high ground in that position right on top of him. Is it going to give him enough space? Kamals has got the highest of high ground in all of this. Here's the footsteps and is feeding the information over to his teammates so that way they know exactly where he's going to be positioned at. Knows the fact that he's got Destroy right underneath of him one side of this. Has to be careful. Salalzi one side of it. Going to get a little bit of aggro thrown his way. So control right now still favoring Shadow, but
Loading. Oi.
Here, one way or another, even if you lose Hansi in this situation, you should be okay with Jexy and Setsuna's position. Just going to come down to the shots, and we know AGAL, they're capable. No Himas here, but still Destroy Salalzi, very, very good in their own right.
I think that Destroy just found the helmet. I didn't see it on a second ago. I'm not for certain, but I have to see is there might have been a peek that Kamals could have gone for. I wouldn't be surprised if probably his head's been hit a few times given the position of Kamals, and this is full contained. Destroy just trying to play this slow. See if he can sneak up, but Kamals isn't going to let it happen. The shoddy, though, could be big flash.
Nice, Kamal.
He's going to find something. Kamals does get the knock. That's going to open up the longhouse, and it is just Salalzi as the solo.
Oh, Kamal's just going to go in there, make sure he's got the point, immediately runs away, realize he might be in a bad fight, don't want to give any extra over to AGAL if they can.
Nice.
There you go, Shadow Esports going to take the chicken dinner on Miramar.
Slow and steady wins the race inside that one. Shadow Esports finds a victory
Let's
and
go.
continues to climb up the leaderboard. Underdog story
Let's
not done yet.
go. Chagi
I mean,
lagi, guys.
you know, a very
Let's go.
thought out game. It's not as explosive as your T1s, as your myths, but
50.000 nih Chagi, langsung aja no bacot dewasa
they're
only
gonna make some good
Chagi.
moves and they make some good reads. Yeah, sure, some circle luck, but they play it well.
Other side of that, anyone's legend, respect on that rotate. They read exactly the position that was coming up from Shadow and how they were going for it.
Tutup dapur MBG biar Kang SE yang memasak.
Practice roomnya di sana juga buat di tempat
Enggak,
venue
beda
juga
hall,
buat.
Bit. Cuman sebelah-sebelahan.
Oh.
Beda gedung, cuma sebelah-sebelahan.
Ya, senyum lu.
Gila Batam.
Wah,
Itu
pengen
Batam.
ngudut lihat guys mukanya guys.
Langsung asem-asem, udah asem dia. Asem bos, sini bos. Gampang banget agal bos katanya.
Emang
Wah,
Miramar
bagus sih.
punya SE aja.
Ganteng sih bom itu.
Cakep itu
Masa
bomnya
kudu
bro.
Wah,
dipredik
bomnya
Chagi
ganteng
dulu.
banget itu.
Gak apa-apa, gua rela kali ini guys.
Ini juga ganteng
Kenapa
sih
nggak
gampang
dari
anjing.
kemarin lu
Mantep
prediksi
banget,
kayak gini?
Lo perwakilan Indo apa? Ini Shadow Esports yang baru chicken.
Enak timingnya deh. Naik cerot, pantat hilang.
Pantatnya kena tembak.
Mati, main PB kok malah.
Weh, chicken $5.000 enggak? Enggak ya? Oke.
Balapan.
Semuanya aja diduitin ini di sini kayaknya nih.
Kerjaanmu apa kok sehari bisa
Itu
dapat
dari
12.000?
kemarin, Bot.
Dipilih pun dia juga pahlawannya, iya ya anjing. Ngepick sendiri dipilihin.
Iya.
Strike loh si anjing.
Gila banget. Kacau.
Bisa loh strike.
Bit, di lu jam berapa, Bit? Sekarang, Bit? Jam 7 ya?
Udah
Jam 8.
jam 8 kurang 12 menit lagi.
Sama.
Apa sih?
Kok jam 3 itu? Jam 4 ya?
Jam 3, jam 3.
3. Iya udah dinner padahal dipilih Okto tetep.
Wajah Jaxi kayak marah. Itu Sigma. Webok.
Main.
Sumpah SE kalau konsisten ini bisa invite PGS tuh besok tuh.
Semoga
Udah
ya.
announce belum? Udah announce belum timnya?
Belum
Kan? Bisa invite
belum.
itu. Bisa invite itu.
Mantap.
Kayak mewakilin Apak gitu.
Apakah PUBG Indo kembali guys?
Terima kasih macanya. Terima
PGS.
kasih.
PGSC 3.
Tetap nggak sih Mas To?
Makasih
Kembali
ya.
pun yang ngurus Taiwan.
Aduh.
Oh udah nggak bisa PGS yang bulan depan.
Nggak bisa, tahun depan baru bisa.
Enggak, PGS yang 4 belum bot. Ini kan sirkuit 3 besok. Ada sirkuit 4-nya. Sirkuit 4 belum.
Ya doain aja PUBG
Lebih
Indo
kepengen
balik
ngajak
di
dulu. Udah, Deng.
2027 bot.
Oh iya.
Udah, nggak
Amin.
bisa. Dia
Iya,
tahun
iya.
depan baru bisa. Nggak bisa hari ini.
Nggak bisa tahun ini.
Iya, nggak bisa tahun ini.
Aku beli
Jadi udah
macanya
non
yang
semua PGS.
gede. Biar ampe beres.
Ternyata
Gila ya.
Cagi. Kau mendem ya Cagi ya.
Ya kan Om?
Gila, seminggu udah
Om,
4 juta
antar,
ini.
Om.
Ya kalau tebak-tebak
Apa tuh,
kan
Jagi?
PG aja dah.
Antar.
Coba.
Disuruh nganter masa main. Pade, aduh.
Coba kalau Cagi apa namanya?
Ada imbot
Ngadu
tungguin
Jagi.
klip lu ya. Iya.
Enggak cuan kan?
Apa?
Ngadu. Ngadu apa?
Kalau ngadu
semen.
Jagi. Kalau ngadu.
Ngadu semen.
Kuis lebih oke Cagi.
Ngadu pasir.
Dipilihkan lo masih dapat lo ya.
Semoga suka macanya, selamat menikmati. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Imbot kata
Jangan
AKM
4K
tungguin
itulah,
ya klip lu
ngeri
lagi
anjing.
render katanya
Win rate
gitu.
Cagi 100% ya.
Klip apa lagi ini?
Hari ini win rate-nya 100%.
EWC.
Iya.
Lah, klip
Oleh,
panzer gue yakin itu. Klip panzer udah pasti itu klip panzer.
Enggak lah.
Udah pasti.
Si Cagi ini ngerinya orang dalam.
Wah, ini
Bukan.
momen deg-degan kemarin.
Cagi bukan orang dalam, dia orang dengan ODGJ.
Paling
Loh.
lu di GJ setan.
Biasa aja, nggak usah pakai setan, bro.
Oh ya.
Dia lagi galak buat gua ya tadi dibentak-bentak sama dia.
Nggak ada.
Iya gila banget.
Ngeri dia
Masa
marah-marah
temen lu
mulu.
digituin, Bos?
Cagi
Ya.
cewek kalau dibentak bakal inget seumur hidup ya, asal tahu.
Gue bahas seumur hidup, gue bahas.
Sumpah. Cewek dibentak
biarin aja.
dibahas seumur hidup.
Biarin aja, dia mungkin lagi ribut juga sama ceweknya. Jadi dia nggak bisa lampiasin ke ceweknya, ya lampiasinnya ke sini.
Oh iya iya.
BC tuh
Iya,
dapat
iya.
poin
Nggak ada
BC dah.
ribut-ribut. Aman aja, Bos.
Enggak.
Putus. Oh, enggak, maksudnya apa sih?
Beda jalur, Om.
Oh, beda jalur.
Iya.
Beda.
Ini ada
Dia
yang
ngebol.
nanyakan ini.
Dia beda jalur.
Beda jalur,
Saking
guys.
ayam.
Saking airan.
Partner, aku
Terus.
butuh partner.
GC Point itu dia mainnya sekarang di PMS aja, Om. PMS 2 nanti.
Nah,
Si
itu
Morbid itu yang ikutan, ikut
Iya,
campur.
Apalah fungsi hidup 1000 tahun kalau
Apalah hati saya.
Itu orang Arab kok ikut WP di sini, Mas. Ini lagi ngomen GTF, guys. Menuju
Cagi
prize
abis
pool
ini
1
foto
juta
tuh.
dolar.
Jangan lah.
kalau jaket yang hijau itu piroan buat di sana dijual kah?
Jaket yang hijau yang mana, Om?
Itu
Yang dipakai
Om,
casternya itu loh,
jaket
Bot.
ulang tahun PUBG yang ke-7 itu.
Oh iya kah?
Tadi ada tulisannya kemarin
Oh, tak pikir merchandise.
7 tahun anniversary PUBG.
Ada, Om, merchandise jaket F1.
Cok, nggak ada FD.
Jaket EWC bagus tuh, Bot. Mau, Bot? Double
Yang-
XL, Bot.
195
Bot,
euro,
berapa, Bot?
Bit. Babi,
Berapa?
Rondo match apa ya,
195
Rondo?
euro.
135.
95.
2.500.
4 jutaan.
Mana
Oke,
sih?
nggak jadi.
Kapanan nggak sih? Berapa?
Dapat kambing
Empat-
satu itu
4
yo.
juta.
Aduh, gua nggak ada itu.
Anjir.
Ada
Yang
boot F1 di sini, ada yang mau nitip nggak?
Yang EWC.
Ben, itu Ben.
Ada
Denny,
boot F1.
F1 Ben.
Ada boot F1 dari apapun.
Bentol.
Ada topinya Lewis Hamilton. Beuh.
Charles ada nggak Charles?
Ada ya jaket
Murah itu
topinya
minta
Jack, mau
Pak
nggak?
Admin.
Mau lek-lek.
4 juta dapat Mio Second, kalau diadu bisa dapat
Mau.
face mate itu Bang Pal. Bisa podium itu. Kata Cagi.
Enggak, Cagi diam aja.
Back aku di mana, Bang Man?
YouTube-nya Cagi good boy, guys. Beneran ini mah.
Good boy.
Emang namanya itu, guys.
Itu, guys.
bukan-
Enggak kita cengin,
bukan
emang itu.
Ini,
Iya.
emang itu, emang itu.
Dulunya emang bad, sekarang udah good ya.
Iya.
Udah good kah?
Udah
Masih-
good dia
masih
sekarang
bad.
temen gue ini.
Yang gue cuma Omi ya, inget ya.
Ke sebelah mau main CS.
Kenapa
4
sih,
juta dapat
Bot?
SSD. Iya, 17 lumayan.
Nyari kotak apa?
Gua mau merenung dulu gua.
Aduh, sedih dah.
Oke, Bot.
Enggak,
Kalau udah jago
Let's
CS-nya
go.
mabar ya nanti ya.
Enggak boleh
Boleh,
enggak.
buat.
Lah, elo gua udah 30.000, Mas. Sorry aja nih.
Gila.
Gua sebelum berangkat main CS. Gua sebelum berangkat main CS seminggu.
30.000-nya real itu.
Bitare dong. Oh.
Ya 4 juta beli kamu.
Opal
Anjing,
mau
udah
ikut
setara
Cagi.
Udah setara cheater lu.
Ya udah, masukin lah dia sini.
Mana dia?
Ih, gila banget Coki stat.
Oh ini.
Beat.
Apa ada Opal? Apa? Monyet kau.
Assalamualaikum teman-temanku.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam.
Ah, rusak lah win rate gua nih.
Alhamdulillah.
Ih, seru banget. Discordnya rame.
Udahlah, selesai lah Kak Cagi. Turun lah win
Selesai
rate lu,
lah.
ada Opal.
Iya.
Ada ketua, ada lah. Guys, ini salam kali ini yang punya car teman rasa pacar, ini dia ya.
Admin
Ini dia
kayaknya,
orangnya.
admin.
Admin
Admin
gue
ini,
nih,
admin.
ketua ini. Ketua.
Ya,
Jadi
ada
kapan
apa,
kita
pemuda?
liburan?
Mukanya ketutupan.
Saya sih libur terus ya.
Alah. Udah capek kali ini kawan aku Cagi terus nih. Dengar
Wujud
suara dia terus.
asli teman rasa pacar.
Kok gitu sih, Bit? Oh,
Iya biar kita liburan ketemu Cagi. Maksudnya itu loh.
Dapat lagi.
Udah.
Iya, dapat lagi Fajar.
gua ke rumah lu sekarang. Boleh?
Kalau kosong aja sih nggak usah ya.
Iya.
Ntar bawain kopi gitu.
4 hari udah bawa 500.000 tuh. Gimana ya?
Ngopi kali ngopi.
Minta traktiran lah, minta traktiran.
Joki referral dapat. Ya kan?
Cagi ini.
Kamal ini mana? Oh, lagi main. Nanti kita cek Kamal ya.
Jam 11 kan
Tuh,
kata Kamal tuh.
mau
Iya ya,
itu.
jam 11. Gue baru selesai jokian satu.
Ntar
Gila,
malam jadwal
penjoki.
main apa? Nggak tahu. PUBG. Nggak ada
Gila.
partian.
Di grand final ada 2000 orang guys yang nobar ini. Luar biasa.
Bit kapan SE di interview? Tahu dah.
Kan
Itu
nggak ada
dijelasin
translator
kan?
kemarin.
Kan udah dibilangin kemarin.
Iya maksudnya hari ini lah grand final setidaknya ada lah interview.
Kayaknya
Gimana kalau nggak ada translator ya?
Terpaksa kayak terpaksa gitu
kayaknya.
loh. Terpaksa bisa.
Amat lah.
Dia kan bisa
luar
itu.
negeri, kirim ke sana lah translator.
Ranjak naik.
Game random.
4G.
Coba minta ke dia. Minta ke Pak Admin.
Beda 10 doang gila guys. Top 5.
Ya mama
Ya, tapi gue lagi mau login PUBG dulu, ada penyemangat katanya sih.
Enak itu Pak penyemangatnya Pak.
Info penyemangat dong apa? Aku belum buka nih.
Saya tadi udah.
Apa tuh?
Tadi predik hashtag 4 di leaderboard.
Kok gua nggak ada ya penyemangat?
Maksudnya?
Tiba-tiba ini.
Iya kok nggak ada.
Bit. Oke, ini ada kuis lagi guys. 50.000 lagi tebak SE ring berapa? Tapi Cagi di spin katanya. Bit langsung aja. 1 sampai 16.
Cagi lagi.
Langsung aja Bit. Langsung Bit.
Cagi apa?
Cagi di spin katanya. Oke. Masa sehoki itu kan maksudnya kan?
Berarti
langsung aja.
Berarti yang lain pick dulu apa enggak?
Dia dulu.
Yang kata hati.
Sabar.
Iya, kata
Sampai
hatinya pun
segitunya
hashtag
Cagi.
3.
Coba langsung
Iya
aja
loh.
spin Bit.
Dia butuh dinner.
Nah, langsung ya.
Dia harus
Langsung
dinner
ya,
sama-
Cagi memilih hashtag
Langsung.
7.
Cagi 7.
Oke, Cagi 7 ya.
Gua masih hashtag 2, gua masih megang hashtag 2. Gas.
Gua 5. 2, 3, 5, 7.
47 gua enggak.
Tiba-tiba
Aduh,
hashtag
ada
7 sih
Jerian.
udah
Iya, Jerian
no debat
langsung
anjing itu
ya.
no debat ya.
Enggak tahu gua ya. Zu.
Coach SE siapa?
To 2, Mbit 5, Cagi 7.
SHD tuh Ersat kan? Bit maksudnya apa? Siapa?
Apa?
Aku
Coach
4.
SE.
Coach SE. Iya, Ersyad.
Ibiza.
Ersat, Bro.
Ya.
Ex Aerowop.
Nom 3.
Sobat itu sobat Aerowop zaman dulu, guys.
2, 3, 4, 5, 7 udah. Om Dros berapa?
Aku kali ini 8.
4.
Info BASE ya. Bang Ersat, langsung aja.
Iya, ada Rania ini.
Gua WA dulu ya, Mas Ersat nyari lowongan
Ini
kerja, guys.
Match 4 kan ya abis ini ya?
Iya.
Taunya tetap bener Cagi. Janggal sih.
Oh ya, gua kan enggak gua yang pilih, ya kan?
Udah ah.
Seperti biasa SE Chicken di hari pertama dan Miramar. Iya juga.
Iya loh.
Bit, tapi Ersat Aerowolf beneran kan, Bit? Aku takut salah orang.
Iya, benar dia.
Ntar gue bercanda-bercandain dia. Maksudnya Mas, anjing. Oh, salah orang. Salah orang. Oh,
Ternyata salah orang.
salah Ersat
Sama,
lagi
Pak.
gua.
Recommended sih ini.
SKSD. Loh, akrab kita. Dulu.
Oh, kalau
2021 lah terakhir tuh. Udah 5 tahun tuh.
Mau $2 million.
Familiar emang.
Baru masuk jangan lupa di like dulu di setiap channel yang lagi watch party.
Like-nya
Guys.
Like dulu, guys.
Ini ada yang gacor, guys.
Aku nggak mau
Overall
yang terlalu pahit.
Shadow Esport sampai hari terakhir 500.000.
Anjing.
Buset.
Oh, berarti ini tebak rank akhir ya.
Gua 5.
Rank overall.
Gua 4.
Gua 3. Naik
Gua 4.
terus. Naik terus.
Gue yang catat apa?
Yakin
Nom,
baik 4
nom,
dia
nom.
udah langsung nyebut papat loh.
Gua 4.
Oh, VR.
Aku 5.
5 udah mau beda.
Gua 5, Cagi 4.
3 biar anak-anak cair, guys.
Okto 3. Siapa
Aku
lagi?
lihat leaderboard bentar.
Kamsa 5, Cagi 4, Okto 3. Nom, Om Dros.
3, 4, 5 udah ya?
Untuk yang WP, ya.
Lah,
untuk yang WP. Cagi masuk.
Cagi WP emang.
Berarti ya makanya.
WP
Coba
dia
tanya dulu
menemani
aja,
loh.
tanya dulu.
Gua 7. Dika ini.
Ya udah buat
on that screen.
Very exciting. You're getting me excited.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited, and there's nothing left, nothing more to be excited about than dropping down onto Rondo. As you could even hear it from talking to the coaches there during the break that, 3 games in, nobody's really stressed. Nobody's really overly pressed about anything just yet. Obviously, those guys doing a little bit better than most, but
Right.
It's again, you still got a lot of time left to play.
Oh, it was good to talk to both a top team, a mid-pack team, and a somewhat bottom team at the moment with Liquid 10 points only in 13 plays currently. But again, those kind of small, fast segments, I gotta say, production value is at an all-time high here at Esports World Cup 2026 in Paris. We are starting to the northeast over Hime Town and going all the way down to the south side. Targets be going into Ringyang, and we could I think it's a very high chance we could see this kind of eastern 50-50 circle that closes in on Yonggu. So let's see where we do end up here, but yeah, just anything but a center circle, I was going to say here.
Anything but...
And that's what we get. So let's see what AGL can make the most of it with the home turf circle. Some teams on that western and southern side don't have as many teams coming in front of them, so there's not going to be as much pressure moving and kind of coming in on those teams. So yeah, let's see how everything evolves on Rondo. Again, it is this massive and huge map. Some of the teams are going to have a really far rotation. Shadow's going to be one of them. Vitality is going to be one of them. And T1 from Jadena are moving towards looting and haven't started looted yet. And we are past the 2-minute mark. So that's going to be really interesting to see how far they can take it in this one and for their campaign. I got to say, man, I've been extremely impressed with how frag heavy T1 has become and what they're pushing throughout this year so far.
Oh my gosh, Heather has been an absolute monster. Well, we've seen other monsters in the past, and one of those being Mr. Levante.
My favorite grenade, it's Blue Zone and Smoke. I like stack Blue Zone and see how guys just dying in Blue Zone, Nate.
That is a terrifying chuckle. He's
considering how crazy good he is mechanically and with almost every single weapon that's available in PUBG, that him saying that, yeah, I really love the Blue Zone, because again, especially with the line it up with the other players on your team, getting that, 20 damage. If you hit 2 on top of the player, 20 damage per tick, it's just unhealable. You get so many knocks, so many kills, and often so many confirms. But Levante is sneaking up onto Luo Shin, and Simon T from Vicious is going to be completely unaware of it, it feels like. So Vitality could strike and maybe get a point early on here in Game 4 of the finals.
Yeah, I hope he's got an escape plan, and it looks like he does. There you go. Hop right into the vehicle, get on out of there, as he will most likely be hearing Hallo, My Bad, and Gedrox starting to arrive. So Simon T not sticking around any longer than necessary, as Levante will hear him drive away. Know that they have this spot to themselves. Meanwhile, over in Stadium, Liquid going to finish looting up over there. They do have a pretty clear path into the north.
Right, yeah, absolutely easily, especially with a northeast kind of south plane path. There's going to be a lot of space coming in from the western side. I could see multiple teams, even maybe Geeky could consider coming in and kind of backfilling that position that Team Liquid will be moving in from. Back to Jadena City here. Great looking city, plenty of loot. If you're a really greedy guy like myself, where you want every single attachment, every single gun, you want your perfect setup, Jadena is the place to go. Twisted Minds and Navi, though, they will be rotating somewhat close to each other here, Poro. We could end up seeing some sort of a drive-by. Sparrow looked like he could end up being chasing, but nah, ends up a little bit differently as the other guy takes shots at them here. Hackator boosting. And what a game it was for them last one, until Kickstart said, hey, no.
I mean, that's the name of the game when you get to tournaments like this, right? We talk about it all the time. Your superstar players need to step up and make superstar plays if you were going to come home with that trophy. And that was a big one that Kickstart was able to deliver last time here as we check in with Virtus Pro.
Absolutely. And you remember last time I saw that level from Kickstart? Remember what happened there? That was the last time they won Esports World Cup 2 years ago, right? And then he was an absolute machine there. I always praise Matt for his growth throughout the years we've had here. Had the pleasure of him through the last 9 years, where he grew so much into a fantastic player, and now in a more senior leadership role on the team as well throughout the last 6 months. It's been amazing to see him, how he's been able to develop here in his full sense, and now we are being able to getting in kind of close here, and these is really high priority positions, and they're spreading out quite greedily. We could end up seeing them being punished, or even with a pull-up from some of the teams coming in.
They're kind of taking shots just to, I think they know that Full Sense was kind of hovering around on their south side. Taking a few shots just to make sure that Full Sense doesn't get any closer. We'll keep an eye on that while we check in with Geeky. They're coming in from the south, but Liquid is posted up here for a camp. Curdy holding that rock initially. And Geeky, I don't know if they suspected something or if this is just their normal pathing, but it's working out pretty nicely. The trail man, though, will take a few shots. That's going to be Songjang. Did he actually lose a tire on that?
I'm not sure if that was a tire pop before he just decided to get back around here. Songjang, half HP. Luke 12 finds him with a headshot from the mini.
Nice shots there from Luke, and now Geeky has kind of started to scatter a little bit here. They were breezing through, and they turn around off of that knock, but the flush will come through, so Liquid will pick up one. So some good proactive play coming out on the part of Liquid.
I like that. They were set up somewhat far. I don't think they expected that exact path that they were going for, as we are going to see that new circle popping in 1 minute 45 seconds. There's plenty of time to fight here, but Akan returns the favor quite a bit here for Curdy. Shots are coming in here. Does a lot of damage to him. He even just jumped out. Now he has to reload, though. He does have an EMAG and an 8X. Lots of damage can be done, and especially tires can be taken away here from Kurt, and he's going to have to potentially get some help from the rest of his team. And now all tires are gone, so it's just going to be the soft cover from the smoke, and the other guys are pulling up. It could be a trade 1-for-1, as Liquid is also moving in to get some help deployed here for his.
There was so many moving parts to that, and we'll break them all down in a second as we wait for this fight to end. Curdy does manage to get to the rock. Park Pro will pull up right underneath. Kurt does have support now in the form of Cowboy. He's got Luke 12 high ground. That's a good grenade. We'll find EJ, but the man up close is still there. Luke 12 and Cowboy, though, they're going to close on Akan now. See
Park Pro down.
Dance around the vehicle. Park Pro does go down. Akan now the last player left alive, and he will go down in the end. Luke 12 and Team Liquid will clean up Geeky.
Even before the 10-minute mark here, they increased their point by 40% up to 14 now. And what a name to take out, and perfectly executed, especially when you know you don't have any priority into the next circle here. They decide, okay, there's teams north of us, they're going to be coming in on. This is likely the bridge they're going to come in on from. So
that was
amazing decision making.
Yeah, that was just such an interesting one, because it looked like Geeky had disengaged. I think Team Liquid thought they had left.
Right.
That's why Kurt went up to loot the box without even dropping a smoke. He thought he was free and clear, but then takes a few shots, and then Geeky collapses. And you figure Geeky had him kind of dead to rights there for a minute, but couldn't get the knock. Kurt doing a good job of staying alive there long enough for the rest of his team to get back into position. And once they were there, boy, it was just instant collapse. Very, very well played by Team Liquid. And now the new circle is popped, and we are going all the way back up north, which is good news for Team Liquid.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the teams to be furthest away from the circle if you discount T1 here, as they're moving in slowly from the stadium side. And majority of the teams are going to be coming in from the southern and eastern side here, except for the teams that say, all right, a northern shift here. There's going to be space on the west. Gen G, though, they pull up on AGAL, and Himas and Delvin is down already.
AGAL just cannot seem to avoid early game conflict so far, but they will find Bean with a panzer to the face. That'll be Sololzi collecting that one. Destroy taking some damage here. Sololzi has been spotted out, though, More utility being sent over from Gen G, but Virtus Pro, as you mentioned, they hear this, they see the smokes. They're going to come over here and see if they can get something off of it. Immediately pulling up right to the hard cover as they will dance around. Destroy gets picked out by D as he tries to escape. D will stay alive via the grace of the smokes for now. Sololzi, he's just going to try to bolt and run. Looks like he might get away with it for now.
Oh, a great third-party pull-up here, but other teams are also sniffing at it. It might be a fourth party as more teams comes in. AGAL is out, Sololzi is down to Clarice as Gam also gets somewhat involved here with that. D does get the kill on Destroy as he bleeds out, and now Corexi is thinking, okay, how can we finish up Gen G? He's in the middle there. Shots comes in, an easy headshot with the ace onto D.
It's good work from Virtus Pro. One left for Gen G. Virtus Pro fishing with dynamite right now, but they don't spot out Soul, but Soul will get one knock. He's gonna go down in the end though, but they need to get Nixie back on his feet quickly. As you said, a lot of teams sniffing around in this area. This is just south of dead center.
Very central location indeed, as Gam is now trying to get a little bit further north here. They're trying to solidify themselves a spot dead center. They could be driving straight towards 17. Navi also here close to full sense. Also pretty central location. Very, very high priority spot here with the high ground. Xiaowu, they pulls up and finds Tanwu.
A lot of early game action here on Rondo as Gam now squaring off with 17. 2 down for Gam as 17 hold the line in the gas station. Wembo and Little Ghost on the way to provide some support. Looks like they're going to arrive just in the nick of time, but you've got Vitality sniffing around on the north side. Long range shots from Gedrock's going to do some significant damage to Xiaowu, but not enough to get the knock.
Wang F low, sees him on the other side. You cannot shoot through this. Wembo getting his cars washed as Hong F managed to heal up a little bit. He's going to push through the smoke aggressively here. Is Wembo ready for this? He could be. Shotgun in hand, jumps through. Great shot to start off. Gets the flush with the M4 as well onto Wenbo.
Sneaky lad. Got in there.
Got his car washed and also got killed. It's amazing.
Did. He got waxed. Free waxing with that car wash. Well, 17 still managed to keep 3 up. Gam just going to try to escape now with what they've got left. And you can see the shots just coming through as we have ping-ponged a hard shift once again back down to the south. So the compound that Virtus Pro had taken, dead center right now.
This is why ping pong is the favorite past hobby of a lot of PUBG pros, because the circle just goes everywhere. Ping pong all the time here so far for Esports World Cup 2026. Purdy Curdy and the guys from Liquid actually managed to grab a spot outside the northwest, but they have to figure out what their path into this circle is going to be. Virtus Pro, dead center, Navi in a great spot. Twisted Minds also set up pretty great. Liquid has to figure out, are we going to go and try to get in from the northern side or from the west, as we see mortar fire coming in.
Liquid's biggest problem might be Falcons as they hold on a compound they were already getting shot at from range. This might be just pre-mortaring their next spot to play.
Yeah.
Team Vitality will immediately hop back into those vehicles. They've got Gedrox right up front, but you see Twisted Minds has angles on this. They have to drive through the gauntlet of Twisted and 17, and Shadow Esports also heading over in that direction as the knocks will come through. Team Liquid are going to hug that western edge a little bit. They did see Gam retreating off into the blue, but it looks like Gam is just going to take some damage here. Team Liquid has to make this long wrap though to avoid Falcons.
Not sure if they are fully aware of Falcons' high ground position. Could be another situation where they're going to have to, divert or pull up and just try to take the points here. They've got time to wait and try to figure out what the best path in here. And Luke 12 is actually figuring out that Yulin might be completely open as Kickstart from the glider has so much information. Simon T finds example though on Twisted Minds as Vicious continue to be vile against the rest of the lobby here.
This has been Falcons' MO, putting Kickstart up into that glider, especially on Rondo, just to make sure that they have eyes on whatever's going on here as we see the grenades start to fall here onto Vitality. That's going to be a good one from Hansi. Will take down 2 members of Vitality. I think they're down to just 1 or 2 left alive. Yeah, you can see they're in the other crater. Gedrox and Levante just trying to survive as Nixie's going to steal that one away with the well-placed mortar. Shadow just playing around the smokes, but they are getting pressed at from Virtus Pro, from Navi. They're going to have to leave here or fully commit, and that's what they're going to do is he's going to take out his own teammate. Oh no, that's not the right time for that.
We get real quick rest here for Kamals, but maybe put him in the car and disengage from it here. Could be the play. More drive through and try to get the flush onto Vitality. Jeksy is trying to drive south here. He's getting extremely close to Na'Vi. That's a dangerous team to get that. Wrap this up quickly. They are inside the circle here, but they've got pressure from multiple sides. And also, Twisted Minds could come in from the back and kind of backfill this position. Miles takes lots of damage. Cards are on fire. He's not going to be able to get further than this. So much pressure onto Shadow at the moment.
This is really tough. Kamals is just going to have to play survivor mode right now as we get a quick replay of those mortars falling on top of Vitality. It has been mortars as the story of this match here on Rondo so far, doing so much damage. We see Gam trying to finally make their way back in once again. They are down to just Wong F as he is trying to go through that gauntlet of 17 and Falcons. Looks like he's going to make it through with just a sliver of HP left.
Oh, Kamals gets out the nade. He had 5 nades. Better get throwing on those because that's a lot of damage. You could potentially fend off some of the 17 players. Tickleton does find Wong F from Gam, so they're out in 11th place. As Na'Vi is engaged on the southeastern side here. Damage is done to T1 here. And Hackatory with an MK14 and a 6X with full 3 gear is my worst nightmare, including all the players in this lobby.
And this is a more aggressive posturing that we've seen from Na'Vi during the group stages. They're sending 2 down south, 2 up to the north, all keeping eyes on everything. Taking shots at whatever they see. You know, we have seen them play a little bit more cautious when they were trying to make the finals. Now that they're here, they're starting to open up the aggression a little bit. As Hackatory will try to get that grenade ready. No, it's going to go back in the bag as he hears them hop in the vehicle. Good shots from End will force him back down, but it doesn't matter. Hackatory will find Heather, and End will get taken down by Spiro.
Boosted confirms.
Guess.
Make sure they enter the points here. 3 points, 3 kills on the board for Na'Vi. The circle did shift once again on the western side. Myth, Team Liquid, and Falcons are laughing as T1 is eliminated in 10th place.
We haven't even gotten a chance to really talk about Myth just yet because they haven't really been involved. Nothing going on the south side, but they have so much control, so much information about what's going on off to their north. Now they're starting to take a few parting shots at Na'Vi. Team Liquid, though, has spotted them out, so it will start pulling themselves back together here as Falcons are also controlling what's going on in the northeast, as 17 still have not been able to rid themselves of Kamals.
Especially with a back-to-back western shift, so many teams have to move from the same space on that eastern side, and there's just not enough time or space to try to rotate on the southern side or on the north without everyone is shooting at you. Myth defending the south, Falcons holding on to the north. Na'Vi's going to have to figure out what do they do here. Do they do a pull-up and try to third-party the 17 fight? As Gustav finds Lil Ghost, and they know there might be teams and players and kills available out here in the northeast.
This is a tough call for Na'Vi, but they're just going to send it right in. But I don't know if you knew if Perfectix was right there. He'll get 1, he'll get 2. Can he get any more? He sure can. Perfectix, he's going to fight Na'Vi all by himself.
But back-to-back, one we thought as Perfectix gets up to 6 kills and gets Twisted Minds on a total of 9 kills in this game. Well played by them, and that's the worst nightmare for any team rotating, that you have a guy like that behind all the cars, behind all the cover. As 17 is being absolutely demolished
Nice,
by
nice,
Gustav
Kamal.
and Kamals.
Look at you, Kamals. Got 2 more off of that. That's a heck of a salvage here for Shadow, considering the position that they're in is. Oh, see, yeah, 17 got to be a little bit frustrated about that one. Twisted Minds does go down in the end, but not before Perfectix pulled off another superstar play for Twisted Minds. Adds them 9 more points. Push them up the leaderboard a little bit more. You feel like Kamals is probably dead to rights here, as Falcons have taken complete control over the north right now.
They are the defenders of the wall. Let's see where the next circle does go in here, though. As the game, the pace slows down, you have to figure out how we're gonna compose ourselves and how we're gonna enter this next circle. He's holding on to the east. Team Liquid dead center, mid on the southern side. Lots of control alongside the road. And Full Sense is trying to squeeze in. If this next circle does not come to them, they are the next victims of anyone that's going to have to make a move here. So Myth and Full Sense are going to have to make pushes, potentially into the same direction and same area as Team Liquid. They try to dig some foxholes and get some defense set up. It could be a push from Full Sense and Myth onto their location.
Yeah, this is going to be really rough, right, for Team Liquid especially, because you know both Full Sense and Myth are going to avoid the compound as best they can as we get to replay of that nasty, disgusting play by Perfectix. 38 rounds left, too. Not too shabby for that player here as we see Kiss. All they want is to get a single knock here. If they get a single knock on a Team Liquid, it opens up the smallest of doors. But now Falcons has come over here as well, and they're taking shots. So this game of chicken between Full Sense and Myth eventually is going to have to come to a head.
What I really love about this circle is that where Falcons is like a mini King of the Hill fight, because it's slightly elevated. And they have that northern side control here. So Myth could try to end on that western side. There's a little bit of space for Jacob. The IGL of Myth found some, but Kickstart finds Baron. And that's going to delay them so much. That could really put a spanner in the works for their approach into this circle here. Oh, Jacob with a 3 gear on him without the helmet and an 8x. He could do some damage from this location, but Kickstart's set up perfectly behind some cover with his car. As it's though, it is smoking.
Well, Virtus Pro. If they can pop anything here, as Belmoth does get that knock on a Luke 12, so that might open up a little bit of a space there. As Gustav will force Beamy back in. Says you have the compound, you just stay in your compound for now. We don't want to have to deal with you just yet. Full Sense still hasn't made their way in. They are just kind of edging around as Myth has now fully committed onto Team Liquid. Alo, he's going to get one, but he's going to get taken down by Baron. We'll see if Purdy Curdy can return the favor with a well-placed grenade. He's just in range. Will it land? It's going to bounce off the vehicle.
And now this is the cue for Full Sense to make something happen. Tigger gets a nade flush onto Luke 12, so well played and well thought of from Full Sense here, your PGC 2025 champions. Baron now, Scabbies, are they going to be able to get this rest and get a full reset onto this, as Cowboy has been pulled up on by Full Sense.
Ooh, gets the heal off just in time, but he is all by himself. Does he? Oh, he's going to throw the grenade to start things off, see if he can maybe get someone down. Got some damage, does find Tigger. He's going to find Flash as well with the grenade. Cowboy trying to pull a hero play, and oh no, he looks at the wrong direction. And Belmoth will survive for now, but Virtus Pro has left their compound. They're starting to come over here and see if they can get some points.
What an absolutely insane late game here as Falcons maintain control on the rocks here. They got so much pressure, and they're putting it on to Myth as Kiss turns around and finds Kickstart with a headshot.
Oh my goodness, Myth, how on earth have they managed to keep all 4 alive here as Falcons trying to keep an eye on everything from the north. Myth is able to just focus down Kickstart, get him knocked. Have not been able to get him flushed just yet as the utility will continue to rain down around Full Sense. Virtus Pro, they send 3. They've left Corexi back in the compound. How much utility do they have left? How much utility do they want to devote to taking down Full Sense as Flash has been brought back onto his feet?
Yeah, well-placed grenade right now would get yourself some kills onto full sense, but Nixie continues this pressure. He has a stun grenade, some smokes, but no offensive utility at the moment. Stuns come in, defensive stuns come in, and this is going to delay them quite a bit. Nice peek around, but Lukaruk finds Spellbound, finds another one. Nixie and Lukaruk pushes full sense and get them down.
So well played there by Nixie, taking that high ground on top of the rock. They don't even take a knock in the process, and that is huge for Virtus.pro as they immediately turn their attention over to Myth. Take down Scappy. Falcons able to reset, get Kickstart back on his feet. So they are back in control on that northern side. We'll see if Myth can return over to Scappy. He's a little bit separated from the rest of the team, and the terrain that they're working with over on that western side is a little bit more difficult to deal with.
Oh, great shots with the 3x spray onto that Orc here. He's got plenty of bullets to do so. 1,000 damage almost for Nixie and 5 kills. This is his game. Surely that's a man of the match right there. Taken. Falcons are moving in, and this continues to be that rough fight for terrain as the fight for the King of the Hill continues here in this game, match 4.
Seen a couple examples already of that excellent European marksmanship. Started with Hackatory, then it was Perfectix, now it's Nixie. Can Nixie carry his team, join the rest of his team? Getting a victory here, but Myth, they're going to just go ahead full send, and Nixie is there for it. Nixie collects his 8th point as he is going to taken down by Tiggleton. Not flushed out just yet, but he's brought very low. And now Virtus.pro, they have a decision to make here as the rest of Falcons will hop in vehicles, start going for the roundabout. Oh! Nice Panzerfaust from Lukarux, takes down Gustav, but at least it was only one of them.
It's a 3v3, not sure, but still 3v3 in standing. Corrects defines Shrimsy, and there's a lot of pressure on Falcons right now. 7 kills so far. Lukarux catches a headshot.
Lukarux has to hide behind that cover. Kickstart has the Doritos still to play around with. That Panzerfaust going to sail a little bit wide for Tig. As Shrimsy, oh no, he tries to crawl out from behind the rock, but Lukarux is on time. Will find the knock on to Tiggleton, and now it is all down to Kickstart. He's got a rock to play with, and he is outside of the zone, and the rest of the Virtus.pro gang is starting to collapse on top of him.
Beamy just sending it around right now. He's at the high ground anchor position here, and Kickstart might just go out and see if he can get just one more point here. Asses get found here, and it's going to be Virtus.pro for a chicken dinner and 15 kills. What a way to assert dominance over this lobby.
Super well played by Virtus.pro, and super well played by that man right there, Nixie, going nuclear in the late game to the